Today is June the 5th, 2024. My name is Tanya Finchum. I'm with Oklahoma State University with the Oklahoma Oral History Research Program. I am in Tulsa, Oklahoma today to speak with Jocelyn
Yes.
Whitney and Bob Bulick for our series on Santa Ambassadors Oral History Collection. Bob transforms into Santa Claus of Tulsa, and Jocelyn, I still don't get that right, steps into the character of Mrs. Glossy Claus.
Jossie Claus.
I'm thinking bossy because you said
okay.
Bossy.
Yes.
We should probably start over.
Okay.
Let's start over.
Okay.
We'll have them delete that. I will try to do better. Today is June the 5th, 2024. My name is Tanya Finchum with Oklahoma State University with the Oklahoma Oral History Research Program. I am in Tulsa, Oklahoma to speak with
Jocelyn Whitney
and
Bob Bulick.
Okay. Thank you for inviting me into your home today. This will be part of our oral history collection that we're calling at the moment the Santa Ambassadors. We'll work on that title as time goes on. Bob transforms into Santa Claus of Tulsa, and
Jocelyn becomes Jossie Claus
during the holiday season. So thank you for bearing with me on that.
That's quite all right.
Okay, before we get into the world of Santa
and
Mrs. Claus, let's learn a little bit about you. Start wherever you like. We'll start with you.
All right. I am a native Tulsan. Have lived in Oklahoma the far better part of my life. I went to Booker T. Washington here in Tulsa, was a drama major all the way through, then graduated Tulsa Community College, then the University of Oklahoma with a Bachelor of Fine Arts. Then I went off for a while, did some theater work, did some costuming work, a lot of acting work. My real passion was stage, but since I sew, there was always a job for me backstage doing costumes. Then I ended up back here in Tulsa. I was traveling around the United States just a little bit, and then ended up back here in Oklahoma working for Tulsa Community College in administration. And I ended up retiring from there 7 years ago, almost right now. I was there about 29 years. So, and we'll tell the story a little bit more of the story of us here in just a minute.
Okay. Well, I'm Bob Bulick. I'm a fourth generation carpenter. Raised in western Oklahoma, but about half of my youth was in the San Francisco Bay Area. We came back to Oklahoma, and I went to high school there. I've always enjoyed woodworking. Moved to Tulsa, started my own carpentry business with a dear friend, and enjoyed that a lot. Making is the coolest thing to do. But then I retired. I don't have to meet deadline, budget, or expectations.
Except mine.
Well,
yeah.
And so consequently, I've been able to make items that you'll see here. Santa has always been an influence personally, just a little bit of the way we were raised, and my father was a bit of a crazy person with his homemade electrical lighting. But yeah, retiring has been the most fun of my woodworking career.
So where in western Oklahoma?
El Reno.
El Reno. Okay.
And oddly, not many know, El Reno is a word that means reindeer. And
I didn't know.
I always like to joke, my dad's name's John, my mother's name's Mary, middle name Mary, and but I'm not biblical. I mean, it's just, I found it really unusual.
Well, and his actual first name is Era, which means in Latin the altar.
So I've been doomed since birth. But yeah.
And he's always had a gorgeous, gorgeous beard all his life.
I had three gray hairs when we married. And within fibbing. But it's all happened since, no. It's, I dye my hair. A lot of Santas will do that. And the beard. But I've never had to dye the beard. My temples are white. The top of my head's fairly white. But the rest of me is, I'd probably never go gray. But it's a burden I have to share.
Yeah.
You know.
Having said that, when we met, he was 42 years old. I was 35 years old, and he was recently divorced. He had 2 children. I had 1 daughter, and I had put a personal ad in the Tulsa newspaper, and he responded to it.
Best place to find a girlfriend.
And we
wife.
just hit it off big time there, and so blended our families together about a year later, and the rest as far as that goes is history. So then after all of our kids were out of the house, and there we've got grandkids now in California, we've got grandchildren in Texas, but none here locally. So particularly after he retired, we were trying to figure out, really good occupation for him, something to do, because his thing was either retire or have shoulder replacement surgery, and he really did not want to go that route. So I was like, okay, here's the deal: you can retire, and to where you're not
I
doing
got permission?
not yes you did or that. So I was still working at the time, and then a while later you got this phone call from my sister-in-law.
Her sister-in-law called and said she had a photographer student at TU that needed a fat guy with a beard, and Mary was kind enough to say, and I thought of you. So I sent a picture to the photographer. She just went nuts, said, "You're perfect. I don't have a suit." She says, "I'll rent you a suit." I said, "Okay." So we meet out at Mohawk Park, the 24th of December, I thought. I mean,
I didn't think it was quite. It was a little bit earlier than that.
Week before Christmas, and it snowed that night before. So there's 4 inches of snow on the ground. It couldn't be better. And they had me in the suit. It was for a Christmas card for a couple of paramedics. They wanted a picture of them saving Santa. And they were telling me Santa had a heart. Even then, I didn't know a lot about the Lord, but just the love of Santa. But they said Santa had a heart attack, and the Tulsa paramedics come save him. And I said, Santa's, I know, is like 1,700 years old, guys. He's not going to have a heart attack. He'll have a cookie crash, But we went with it. I'm laying in the snow. My business card still reflects after all these years. The first suit, the first time I ever did any of that. But and we've been doing card photos for them every year up until the last couple of years for most of my Santa life. So it was, we had talked about doing this, but most people talk like that because it's just stuff.
Fun. Yeah.
And we said, what can we do to the house? What can we do to this? And then we did the suit and thought, well, let's just try it next year. So.
Well, now wait, you got to tell them about when you saw yourself in that camera lens, the image.
Yeah, allow me a little personal weird.
Have at it.
All the time I'm growing up as a boy, and all the the Fantastic Four, all of the cartoons, I dreamt of having a superpower. I thought I could fly when I was young. I got hurt a lot. I wanted to be like Rubberman and stretch. And you grow up, you don't have that superpower. It's okay. I'm human. Well, when she showed me the picture that she had taken of me in the suit, for some weird reason in my head, it was like, I have a superpower. I'm Santa-Man. And it was just kind of, I never thought of Santa as being something like that, a capeless hero, but yeah, that's kind of what. And when we got into this, I had an acquaintance online in Oklahoma City who was a photographer for Channel 6. And he said he's wanting to start a chapter. There's an international group of Santas called OOHRP. It's the International Brotherhood of Real Bearded Santas. And any group can set up a chapter anywhere they want of like-minded Santas. Small, simple rules, 5 people, officer positions, and 4 meetings a year. So Bo and I he knew another person, I knew another person. So we got together and set this up. And we're how many strong?
I think our current membership is between probably 65 and 75. Santas and Mrs. Clauses, a couple of elves in there. Yeah.
You know, and while Bo was the original president and me vice president, as time goes on and we changed officers, Jocelyn just finished being the president of the group.
Yeah. So it's the first female president of the group. I think the second female president of the chapter nationally.
Oh, that's impressive.
So, yeah, it was.
So when would the chapter have started in Oklahoma? What year?
2016?
16?
15? No, it was before that.
Probably about 2016. We'll be correct. And we can do that on
it may be
paperwork.
even earlier than that. It may be 15. Because he started working, doing Santa in 2013. And
yeah, about 2015.
Then, so it was just a couple of years after that. Yeah, he started going up to basically everyone he sees in public who has a beard saying, oh, you could be a Santa. And I had to kind of stop him when he was going up to women saying, you could be a Mrs. Claus. Like, it's kind of different connotation there. Yeah. So I had to check him on talking to the guys about their cookie zones. And I'm like, you can leave it at the beard, honey.
Mostly I don't interrupt every bearded person. The best example is there's a guy that, Brad, is 6'4", 6'6". He works at did work at a local pool place, and I would go in to have our hot tub, our chemicals checked. And just a sweet, very nice guy. When you get that spirit off of somebody, that just attitude. I mean, the world's full of a lot of reasons to be grumpy, and he was always happy. I knew he had young children, and I told him, I said, you could be a Santa. And he goes, I thought about that, but my beard and all this, they color all that. And he's regularly doing that now, and has been for quite a while. And I feel proud that I brought 3 or 4 Santas into our group. And it comes from, you can't do till you see. They talk about children seeing somebody that mirrors them, either culturally, for whatever reason. And that enlightens them to like, oh, I can do that. And it's no less a thing for old men. I really have recruited, and we need more cultural diversity in our chapter. And one of our members passed away last year.
Oh, just a few months ago.
Out of Oklahoma City, a black Santa. But a very well-known Santa. You're gonna fade on the name.
A former football player.
Yeah, football player.
Yeah, national NFL. Yes,
Santa Blair.
Yes.
Absolutely beautiful. I would love to have one of his coats. No matter.
Well, I think he had a few of those endorsements.
Yeah. And when he first came to our chapter for one of the meetings, I had this sense of, kind of like a lot of the Santas that begin, it's like, kind of thing. One gentleman I had approached who was black, but I'm black. I'm sorry, I didn't know that. I said, is that a problem? And he goes, well, I said, exactly. Nobody, and no matter what it is, there needs to be the diversity of what Santa is. Just happens to have started out like I did, because most of the people writing stories were like I am. They didn't celebrate it, but then when he just left the fold. I mean, it wasn't but a year later and I see his online pictures, Blair and everything, and it's like, the dude abides. He's got it down. It's an interesting thing. There's a lot of Santas who have difficulty enjoying it a little bit. They just haven't figured out how to come out. We have a dear friend in LA who travels the country giving classes. And his name's Santa True. He's an SCA. I don't know if you're familiar. The Society of Creative Anachronisms.
The
From
medieval recreation people. Yes.
Our daughter's that way, and family. They get together and they want to make sure they're
historically accurate in arts, crafts, warcraft. He's a bard. This other Santa is a bard.
He comes out of being a bard.
Yes. Storyteller.
Quite a storyteller. So he has these classes where he gathers Santas and Mrs. Clauses to learn to come out of their shell, to entertain, to simply smile. The hardest thing for a lot of Santas is there's a lot of hair up here. And he does what he calls it kringles. He'll put a pencil in your mouth to get your smile up to your eyes, get your eyes involved into the smile. And it's fun to watch the ones that really can't manage that. And the worst thing is being caught with what we call it, grumpy face.
Resting grumpy face. Yes.
Yeah. And
yes,
they will.
Yes.
I mean, there's a beautiful picture of me real early on for a church in Claremore, and we're doing simple photos for families that come through. And there's these 3 little munchkins that every time somebody does a photo, they're in on me and they're asking me everything, what's going all over the place. And Jossie Claus is not there as Jossie Claus. She's Jocelyn. She's setting off. She's not involved in the thing. And in the one photo where they come up, the 3 of them are asking, I'm kind of like, and they caught that picture, but I like it. It's perfect. You know, the only way.
But then he sicks the girls on me.
Yeah.
Yes. He said, oh, you know who that is over there. So.
Mrs. Claus. But yeah, no, the whole thing in starting the group and bringing people in and the way it's grown. Nationally, they didn't originally allow Mrs. Clauses in as full members. They were really...
But now they do.
Now they do, and we're struggling to try to get them to understand that traditional bearded Santas should be allowed, which are the ones with the... we don't
applied beards.
Applied beards.
Right.
And because it doesn't... they've got it made. There's a Santa in Tulsa who's done the parade years ago. A lovely looking Santa, and he does the lighting at Utica Square.
Often.
And he once told me, I asked him about setting his throne up, some of his gigs, because he's got one he's made. And he goes, I put on an Acme jumpsuit. I don't have my beard and a cap, and I just go in as a laborer, as a worker, and then, oh man, you know. I can't. I probably could rubber band this up and go biker looking, I suppose, you know.
Yeah, that's one of the things that we really discovered early on is how much, especially being the real bearded Santa, will really start to take over your lives. You know, I retired before I really got involved with him on it because I knew I wanted to go in whole hog. Now, I had always done Great Christmas. I think both of us grew up rather larger families, kind of limited means. And so going to see Santa wasn't a thing we ever did as kids. Santa was a remote thing, you know, this star that was, out there. And so both of us, though, tended to really go a little bit overboard on Christmas with our kids and then our grandkids and go really overboard. But then you start realizing when he started doing this that once November hits, especially Thanksgiving, he really can't go out in public. He doesn't go to the grocery store. He doesn't go shopping. He can't go near a mall because the thing is again, our friend True calls it Highlander syndrome. There can only be one Santa present.
So
and if that mall has a Santa down there, you have to assume they will have a Santa there if it's during operating hours. You can't confuse the children by having another Santa in that area. So we have to be very, very circumspect where we go when we go out. And so it's kind of become, we tend to be kind of homebodies during the year.
Well, that's what.
But then we decide that, yeah, during November and December, that's when we get our date nights. That's when we really dress up. And I put on makeup and we go out and do things when we're in character.
I had went out real early on, went out to a mall here in Tulsa, to Dillard's to buy jewelry for her. And I couldn't find any jewelry. And I was oblivious to anything to think about, unlike now. And I walk on back through the mall thinking there's another jewelry store, somebody else I can look. And I get over to I'm on the elevated area, and there's the down below, and I'm leaning over the railing going, what are all these people in line for? And I look and I see Santa Claus, and I look down and I see these kids look up pointing, and I'm like, okay. I got, but yeah, I had one day at a grocery store. We all have bad days. And I kind of feed mine with old 60s music, so I'm driving to the grocery store and I'm playing some of the old music that kind of feeds my morose, my angst. And I get out of the car, shut the door. I've got my Kia Soul that says Toy Maker on it, but I'm not thinking. Across parking and getting out is a mom and a little girl, and she's putting a baby in a stroller. And I catch eye with the little girl, but I'm still not thinking about it. And I grumpily walk into the store. I go up to the cash desk to do something, I forget what. And behind me, I hear this, Santa? This little voice. Hi, how are you? And I turn it on and we're friendly and they do a selfie and I go my business and I joke with friends, good grief. Santa can't be a grumpy Gus and he has to be careful. So you just have to, and I've tried dearly with a couple of friends, one that passed away recently, wanting them to be Santa. And in his case, he's an Irishman who plays a lot of mean Irish music. Used to be in a group. A sweet person, but he does have his Krampus side. And he kept saying, I would be more like Krampus. And I said, Frank, you do this 2-3 years. You'll have no testosterone left in your body. You'll be a big honking marshmallow. You'll see kids and you'll smile. You see. He didn't want to let go of his temper, but that's okay. But yeah, it is something. It's like when Jocelyn started doing the Mrs. Claus, I didn't think she would. She'd always put me off because of work and retirement, and I wasn't really sure how this would manifest itself. Because I mean, I know her spirit. I know from the acting, and we torment each other. Did you ever see, what was it, Princess, I always mix it up. My name is Montoya, you killed my father.
No, Princess Bride.
Well, in the Princess Bride, you'll see us. I'm Billy Crystal. Oh. And she's Madeline Kahn?
No. Carol King. Carol King.
And because I tell everybody we're the Sonny and Cher of Santa and Mrs. Claus. Because we do our singing routines, we've recreated certain songs that we do, and I play the dumb one.
Yeah, somebody was telling us, oh, you need to study George and Gracie, the Allens, and I was watching that. I was like, yeah, that's nice, but that's not how we do it. That's not how we do
Gracie.
It. We do it, yeah. He's like Gracie. Well, it's just more. It's more of his nature. It's more of your nature to do that.
And the fun part about the routine, I try explaining to other Santas, is you're going to mess up. You're going to misspeak. You're going to do something wrong.
Yep.
It's great that when you're in that character of it, you can accept the mistake. I mean, we've got a song we do the night before Christmas in 4 musical parts, and I might mess it up, and she'll either whack me or, and I'm like, and we play it.
And we do. We play it. It's like, what, Santa and Mrs. Claus have been married 250 years easily. And now he's much older, but, they married. And what couple who has been married that long doesn't complete each other's sentences, doesn't have to be reminded of certain things once in a while? It's just going to happen.
Well, I can start a story
yeah.
that I think is cute. I get kicked, and I know that it means, think about this, because she's my filter. And there are those stories that are very cute to hear, but not necessarily to share. And it's fine.
Now, the one that is a lot of fun to share, I think it was your second year
The book
doing Santa, and you got hired over a phone call to go to Arkansas to a Walmart to sit in a chair for 2 days.
A lot of Santas do the mall work, and it's air conditioning. A lot of Santas get called to do mall work, and that's all they want to do. I wasn't sure if I wanted to do mall work early on, and this company contacted me. Mentioned that. We talked about the agreement. They were going to have me in a nice motel that was going to be nearby the Walmart. Well, it was 22 miles away, and everything's under construction. And that was not. I had to change at the motel and drive there. They said I'd have a private bathroom. The fun thing was when I did they drug a chair out of their furniture department.
They weren't set up for him. They didn't know he was coming.
And I guess I'm ahead of myself. They told me to call the manager and let them know I'm coming. And they sent me a couple of agreements. And Santa does that. They sent me a couple of agreements.
It's the actor in me. The director is like, no, get your hand away from your mouth.
But I call and the manager's like, I don't know what you're talking about. So I read her the agreement from National that said I was going to be there on this Friday, and you were to have photos for people. And so she agreed. They put this chair out of the furniture department in the garden shop. They got one of their trees they're selling. They put it together. It wasn't awful. And the enjoyment I had out of it was people picked on Walmart. And my attitude is, I am a person of Walmart. It's a beautiful place, different cultures, languages, loving moms and dads, families, grandmas, that all brought their kids. The second when they knew I was going to be there, they came back the next day dressed lovely. But it just felt so sweet that when I think of some of the negativity used, I think the Sunday before I left or whenever, 11-year-old boy and his parents are coming by. There's nobody in line, and I'm sitting in the chair, which I found out people think I'm fake. So when they walk by, if I go, ho, ho, ho. Anyway, apparently I'm not supposed to be that ornery. But the 11-year-old boy goes by and he says, I don't believe in Santa Claus. And I jump up. What? You don't believe in me? No, you're not real. Can we talk? And he walks back over and says, why don't you believe in me? Because you give coal out and it hurts the atmosphere. It hurts the planet. And I'm like, you're right. But I'm not going to give coal anymore. And this is just all off the cuff, And he says, you're not? I said, no. Matter of fact, this will be the first year I won't give coal. What are you going to give? Mismatched sock. It's just, he's like, oh, and he's doing that. He's got his arm crossed. He's 11, but he's stroking his chin like he's an old. He goes, why would you give a mismatched sock? And I said, think about it. When your parents do laundry, a sock goes missing. Where does it go? It goes through the vent, into the atmosphere, takes it to the North Pole, it falls in a spot, and we've got tons of them. So I'm going to give gifts too. Naughty kids don't get gifts. He said, I don't like that. I never have. Every child deserves a gift, and they'll get a sock if they've been naughty, and that sock will tell them, you could have been better, just like your gift might have been. And he's just doing this one. I like that. I said, so can I have a picture with you on my knee? And he said, sure. And the parent standing there went, it's like, and so we got a couple of photos, and I said, are we good? Yeah, we fist bump. Well, that became our book, what, 4 years later, 5?
Yeah, actually, we spent the year, we toyed around with the story,
We
kind of
liked the
fleshed it out
story,
just
yeah.
a little bit. And the first year of the pandemic, when essentially our business was entirely shut down. We didn't get to do
So
anything.
We should publish
And
this.
that was just like my third or fourth. We actually wrote it up. We got it, we fleshed it out, wrote it up, got it copyrighted, and then found, do you want to tell them the Chicky Bun Hut
Oh, well.
story?
Well, during the time of, the story was great to have as Santa and Mrs. Claus.
Yes.
To just tell. And it kind of grew and developed and got fleshed out. Not really thinking, I mean, I don't know how to publish a book or a story. And in the meantime of all this, plus we didn't need an illustrator. A neighbor down the street, our daughter's age, has a couple of beautiful girls that have been elves for us. And she wanted a chicken hut built and a bun hut for bunnies. So it was going to be this kind of, we called it a Chicky Bun Hut, this condo thing.
Kind of a chalet, yeah. Chickens on one side, bunnies on the other side, tool storage in there. It was a pretty big deal.
I drew, but she was going to do it. She needed me to draw it up. So I drew it up. I showed her what it could be. And then I realized she's never really used a hammer. Nothing on her. I mean, her husband neither. This was going to be it wasn't difficult, but I always say that because I'm in my brain. I said, what if I build it for you? And she goes, we'll pay you. I said, you don't owe me anything. I'll build it. You buy the material. So I built this thing. And
I helped a little bit.
And she helped. So it didn't fall and hurt me. But we get this thing built, and then a few weeks, whatever later, I get a call from her mother. And apparently, Sarah's mother, Sandy, is a well-known, quite capable illustrator.
Well, artist.
An artist.
Artist, yes.
Teaches north out of state. And she said, I hear you have a story. And I said, yeah. And she goes, I'd like to do a favor for you and illustrate it as a thank you for my daughter for the Chicky Bun Hut. And so she illustrated it, and then I met a new a writer here in Tulsa, a friendly gentleman with a lot of, I don't know what you'd call his type of writing, kind of like
I don't know.
the Western Joel, that's the wrong name, or just short of being romance. Just he'll be irritated that I put him that way. But I called and asked him, so who publishes your books? And he goes, I do, through Amazon PDF. And he hooked us up with a, what was the other gentleman?
Just an editor who could do the formatting for us. Right.
So it really went quite easy. And well, you don't.
It went easy for him.
Well, Jocelyn being my grammar Nazi, and that's not fair.
Well, we developed the ideas together, but when it came to the actual the full script, the manuscript, I took the lead on that, and then fitting the illustrations in
and getting those. And,
yes.
Yeah. So actually, I'd have to say, I had it easy in Arkansas at Walmart compared to what she did. And so, but it wasn't. We never did do this or went into it that it would be a profitable. We wanted to kind of solidify what identifies us, and this story we feel is a great identifier. Yeah. And it had a lot of issues. It had a lot of struggles going through it. Not awful, but things you don't know about. And then it finally gets published, and we have it in paperback. It's not a great big elaborate story, and it's being sold through that. And we did it through the industry. Our fellow Santas.
Apparently there is a ready audience for anything which is appropriate to something new to take to read to children.
Just a story.
At gigs. So yes, many of our Santa and Mrs. Claus friends. Yes.
We sent all of them out autographed with releases that they could use it as they'd like, so that they could share the story. And in all this, you go, what, a year later, and I said, I think I've got another story. And Jocelyn,
We start working.
well, Jocelyn's like, no. She goes, I said, yeah, we agreed that most good Santa stories are threequels, but they start off cute, they start off troubled, and then there's war. There's just something worse. And we knew we didn't want, the only way a third story would happen is based off the second. I said, what if one of the socks comes alive? So we come up with this idea of how that happens. And basically Santa and the lead character, Argyle, help
The elf.
Help the elf. Help the little sock find his way home. We haven't given it any.
It's a sock.
It's a sock.
We really avoided pronouns.
Yeah, but it's totally not needed.
Yes.
But we help the little sock find their way home to the little girl that they missed, whose sock she got from her brother, just a well-loved
Yes.
sock. And so we went after that, called Sandy up, said, would you want to illustrate the second one? We'll pay you. That's the dumbest thing in the world to say.
They're beautiful, and we will show you before you go
Oh,
some of those illustrations. We have some of the original artwork.
So we made the sequel,
Treasure.
made the
Yes.
second one. And I don't think we'll do any others, but I would have to say with the first book, we've probably sold 300 to 400
Mhm.
copies.
Second one, maybe half that many.
Half that many, and not very many online. It's usually through us, and I give them away to families when I visit, and I know how they have children. It's just a little thing. To me, it's the best business card in the world. And I think we've done pretty good by ourselves for it.
Mm-hmm.
We are insufferable.
But it was wonderful, though, when the pandemic did finally lift and we were able to really get back out there going and performing together again. And I think that's really about the time that it really took off. It's funny, my master's degree was in adult education with a focus on creativity in adulthood and how that's really a thing to, pursue. And I found this the most wonderful retirement career ever. And because I wanted to, he got into all of the woodworking, the throne making, this clock, all of this stuff. And I started making the really elaborate costumes. And then we started really performing together. And so it was kind of a perfect marriage of things. And this worked out great because the Mrs. Claus universe is really kind of exploding. And I think, and I will say, I don't think I've ever put this together, but I think a little part of it might be that it kind of coincides with the rise of the Disney princesses as entertainment at parties. So it's not just a stuffed character head anymore. It's not a superhero anymore. You've got all these women out there entertaining at parties, wearing pretty dresses. Well, this Mrs. Claus deal and Santa Claus deal, we are some of the biggest peacocks in the world. We love playing dress up. And that's been the most amazing thing is meeting all of these men who love to wear, big pirate boots, stomp around in red velvet and white fur. They have more hair products than any woman ever dreams of. Many of them. We tend to be a fairly naturalistic and fairly small venue, so he doesn't tend to do much makeup, but there are many Santas who will do elaborately coiffed beards and makeup for photography, specialized makeup and things. So
I was just going to say the biggest struggle in the industry, and for families that call us, is when we present that there's a Mrs. Claus. We're really working hard. ourselves. And we recently went to Memphis to a convention of Santas. There was several hundred there. And in one particular class taught by a lovely Mrs. Claus, she brought a bunch of the women together in their outfits to be presented. And
paraded
in
before her presentation.
And I think this really knocked IBERB's back a little, not necessarily in a negative way, but they just have been falling behind the times. Mrs. Claus is not, mop hat is okay if you just want to stand next to Santa and guide the children in. But there's more and more movies now where Mrs. Claus is a very strong woman, as she should be. Everything, when you think about the North Pole, is taken care of by Mrs. Claus. Santa gets the free ride to go and eating cookies all night long. But it really, Mrs. Claus is just, I'm extremely proud when I go out, when we can go out as a couple. And we have a family that we know they did not expect this. Because we one of our favorite families that we do every year, Jocelyn has come. But last year when we went together, it was the parade coat. It's her big outfit. Her dress has these little hoop-de-doop around it, so we got the kids to be secretive and hang candy canes on her. Interacted. We've got a thing called, not designed by us, but by another Santa, the 12
Days of Christmas.
And they're just cards that you hold up that says what that day is. And if it's the ring, the person that you give the card to interact, like we did the adults, the ring, they're supposed to go, my precious, or voila. So they all act out, and that's for the kids. Because the parents are usually, we don't want the parents stuck in the kitchen watching everything go on. We're going to drag your keister into the middle of the room. And we're going to
all of the parents in there performing for the kids.
Get them to perform for the kids. But Mrs. Claus leads the song. She sings all the good songs. I only come in when I want to annoy somebody. But then I run around. But it's just that I really think if there's anything anybody ought to get out of everything that you're doing and this collective of clauses, they need to stop a second and say, what about Mrs. Claus? Why not Mrs. Claus? Who needs Santa Claus? Mrs. Claus is quite, we did a visit for the Girl Scouts of America out at Tulsa.
That was my first performance ever.
I did not.
Yeah.
I mean, forget me. When they're like, "Who's this? Who's this?" I think Mrs. Claus. And
well, that's when I stunned him, because I had literally retired July 1st, and about a week later, we got a phone call about this, and got it set up. It was to be July 18th. And I had my first gown made and worked out what songs, what performing we were going to do, and had it out there. And so on the 18th, we headed out there. And unfortunately, we learned very quickly there are things you do at a Christmas in July and things you don't do at a Christmas in July. One of the things you don't do is wear your red velvet and fur to a camp that when it's 95 degrees outside in Oklahoma. But the thing that was great that we did.
Well, we have snowballs that I was buying wholesale. I was one of the first few that
kind of like a
this.
Nerf ball.
Looks like a little white Nerf ball, and it's scrunchy. It sounds like snow. I had brought out 150 of them for
so
the
each
Girl
girl
Scout
would have
to
one.
have a snowball fight. Well, this building out there is like a chalet, an A-frame. It has a deck outside. So they're about to have the snowball fight, but they're outside. Okay, so we go out on the balcony. And they've got all these tubs that they're setting around with the snowballs in them, which nothing's clicking yet. It says, Santa, come on down. And then I realized they're sitting in tubs of water. So we didn't know that these snowballs will hold, one little snowball will hold about 5 gallons of water.
A water balloon worth,
And
really.
Yeah, it's a non-latex yard messy, and they're having this water snowball fight, just nailing each other in the head and the face, and explosions of water. It looks like there's an old director,
Sam Peckinpah.
but, yeah. So any horse falling or cowboy getting hurt, it's always in slow motion, But that's what it looked like with the snowballs, and then they kept yelling at us to come down. And it's like, no way, no. But then we got home and we said, this is cool. So we soaked some up. They take forever to dry. You wring them and wring them and wring them, and you put them in the dryer. But yeah, a lot of stuff you kind of discover, which is really, really fun. The kids, I don't know, it's time. One of the things I say about Santa that I try that I'm getting old about saying it, so maybe I can be the last time I do it here. But I look at Santa like Pistol Pete, the mascot. Nobody knows who's in that costume. Well, they might. But the guy that does it, if he does it really good and everybody loves who's doing Pistol Pete, he's better than Pistol Pete. But he gets the privilege of being in there looking through Pistol Pete's eyes. He doesn't get the adoration. The crowd's giving Pistol Pete the adoration. Santa is no different. Nobody knows Bob.
And they shouldn't.
And I appreciate that so much, because it allows me, when I'm Santa, I don't have to work that hard. I'm not having to be the great actress she has to be to sell Mrs. Claus. I have to put on the velvet, have the big beard, and I'm golden. But I also, like Pistol Pete, I have the privilege of seeing through my eyes what this
that wonder
spirit represents. And children just, they do so much, they'll run across a field full bore. They see Santa. You learn Santa jujitsu. Turn sideways, deflect. But it's just an absolute privilege and an honor, because that innocence is so short-lived for children, it seems nowadays. That wonder is so, I feel that we have an obligation to protect and prolong. I've been approached where people say, I don't believe in the lie of Santa. And that's been going on forever. And I understand there's a lot of reasons by faith or whatever they have. And I try to explain that Santa is an emotion. Santa is something from the heart, giving without expectations. Santa, when you give somebody something, they don't know you gave it, you're being Santa. When you can lift somebody up, help somebody with something they're doing, you're being Santa. He's not a person. He's just spirit. And for the children, that's what's always struck me as it's not really difficult anymore, but it's what I enjoy most about it, is helping that child have that moment. And I've had a chance with a few adults where I can tell in their eyes they won't admit it. But
they still want to believe so much, and I think that's it with the children, is even like that 11-year-old, there's a part of them that doubt is starting to really come in. But what's wonderful about this is when it works right, you can help them for just a few minutes, to maybe one more season, to allow them to continue to believe, because they want to believe so badly. And you get that again with the elderly, who they really want that connection again. They want to hear the songs again. They want to hear the music again. And they want their picture with Santa again so much, because it brings back, there are very few things, I think, which really keep that memory, those triggers, no matter what's going on, it brings a smile to everyone's face. And it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if they're, American, if they're Japanese, if they're, Jewish, if they're, Muslim. It doesn't matter. There's just such a recognition that this is a really good, holy person. That everybody, that you don't have to be, saved, you don't have to be Christian, you don't have to be anything. Everyone can love Santa, and it's that old man, he's safe. He's a safe old man, that they can connect with.
Well,
yeah.
And all of us, the Santas, the Clauses you'll interview, have the sad stories and every variety of it. We've all gone to care facilities where people are towards the end of their life. It's amazing how much of a connection is created. Some people kind of resist because they think their health is so low, but we've gone to places where they just beam up, which is just wonderful.
Yeah.
There's nursing homes that I've been to. One in particular I loved where everybody's getting photos, but the one woman didn't. And the photographer, she was good enough to always be ready, for a photo. But I waved her over and I said, "So you don't want a picture with me?" And she told me how her father used to be Santa Claus. And I don't remember now, but she said he had a name for her when he was Santa. And I said, well, what if I started calling? It was like Buggy. It was silly. Buggy. And she was, yeah, I said, would you like to sit on my knee? I'm not your dad. I'm not the grandpa. But you can talk to me. The spirit is here. And I know he'll hear you. And I don't know if I shared that with you.
No, I don't think you did.
But she sat on my knee and she whispered, this was a different one that whispered in my ear. But she whispered in my ear and told me just how much she loved and missed her dad. And she caught the picture and she goes, "What was that?" And I said, "That was one of my little, I haven't, since she was little." She goes, "Thank you." And, but you get tears from people who talk about their father having done it. One of our favorite ones I told you about, the cards and the stuff like that. Her dad had been Santa. When I first talked to her, she said he was figuring out the kids were getting hip and he didn't want to be Santa this year. She didn't share with me his health wasn't very good either, but that's not my business. But I think that was a little motivation. And so I was going to be Santa. I had seen a commercial with a friend of mine in California for Cool Whip that he did, where dad's eating the cookie like dads do, and the boy catches him and thinks it's Santa, and to cover his tracks, he grabs a Cool Whip, sprays it on his face, turns, ho, ho, ho. And that's when Santa Ed comes down the stairs and goes, "Really?" And so I told her, I said, "We've got to do this. Talk your dad into doing it one more time. Don't share what we're doing." She told me she had patio doors. "I'll tell you when I'm there. That'll be your cue for him to find a way to leave, put on the suit. I'll be at the patio doors. Make sure his back's to me when he comes up to do his shtick. And when he does, point toward the door for the kids, and I'll be there and they'll open their, ho, 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 I'm sorry, am I late?" And she goes, "Oh, we thought it was great." I said, "We'll own the kids. And for 30 seconds, we'll own your dad." But she broke down. She said that the night before I was to come, she says, "I told him." And he thought it was cute, but he couldn't do it. I said, most of the things I like to do aren't always for them. I wanted to do this. But that's just all the fun, the cuteness of doing this.
Well, and it astonishes me. You have the ones who are really, really quite elderly, who are truly the families want, someone is dying and is hospitalized, but the family wants that picture with Santa one more time, and he's done that. But he's also had, I think that was one of my first huge shocks. We were at an outdoor event in Bixby, 2017, I think maybe 2018. and he's out there in the throne, and he gets dropped a 2-day-old infant, fresh from the hospital,
Yeah.
into his arms. Not a worry, not a care in the world.
Well,
it's wrapped up, and that happens all the time.
Well, you usually,
Yes.
when they do that, it's like, it's still got the return label.
Yes.
And in this case, that was the youngest, and it was cold.
Yes, it was.
And it's,
Yeah.
Parents, well, they want their picture. You'd like to think they'd be a little more protective of the health of their kids, but, it all works. It's either that with the baby, or they'll toss their dog at you.
Yeah, that happened once. Surprise!
And then this
Yes.
one little boy then that jumped up at me, I was trying to catch like he's going to go. No, it's just big smackers on the lips. And a good photographer caught it. So it's just a lot of fun of what you get into, and you learn something every time. I'm kind of an ad-libber, which could get me in trouble.
No, but I really love doing the, we tend to take old fairy tales, and we'll work together, we'll transform them to North Pole stories. One of my favorites that I've done is the old story of the 3 billy goats gruff, who have to cross the bridge, and you have the kids do the, trick, trop across the bridge, and the trolls under the bridge. Well,
I become the troll.
I turned that into North Pole story, and that it's 3 reindeer. And one of the things that we like to, depending on the audience, but one of the things we like to point out is that there is a reindeer ranch close to Tulsa. We've been out there and we've learned a pretty good deal of reindeer biology and lore, that the male reindeer by Christmas have lost their antlers. Only the females keep theirs through the winter until they've had their babies, and then they may lose their
except for
their
maybe
antlers
Rudolph,
if they
which
don't.
is kind of.
Well,
but-
that's Christmas magic aside.
Maybe, but
that's the biology.
But
right.
I believe Dasher, Dancer, Prancer, Vixen, Comet, Cupid, Donner, Blitzen, they're all girls, because they know how to get it done. I don't know where the boy reindeers might be chasing those buggers down. The fun thing at the ranch is one of their reindeers, I forget the name they gave. They were about to go out to an event to bring the reindeer out there, and just his left antler fell off. And I was just thinking, that's life. You're prancing around, you're a happy reindeer. Thunk. Oh, that's going to leave a mark.
What I'll do when I'm telling the story of the 3 reindeer bluff, because they bluff the troll who is the cousin to the abominable snowman. They bluff him, and they're all the girl reindeer who were taking cookies from Mrs. Claus's kitchen across that bridge where the troll lives to get to the reindeer games where the boys are learning. But they're the ones who have the antlers still, so they can hang bags of cookies off of their antlers. And they're the ones who handle the troll in this. So it's a good girl power Christmas story. Yeah.
What's fun when we did it for a large group a couple of years ago.
Oh yeah.
It's sellable. I may be dressed as Santa, but they believe you're the troll if you play it right. And it's just a lot of fun.
And we'd stop, and I say, is he being too scary? We don't want him to be too scary for you. Make sure that the little ones are okay.
You're scaring me. but no, it's and I think secretly, that little fun stuff kids really like. I mean, it was that, and we've got a bunch of stories. All I like that our industry is so full of that. That's what Santa True that teaches the classes. He kind of turned us on to a few things. I'm always morphing songs in my head, Santa or not, since everybody does it. It's like
come up with new lyrics.
Like Sunny D. What's the 60s?
Have you ever seen Lorraine coming down off Sunny D?
Anyway, people misspeak that because you can't hear the words anyway, and it's like it's orange juice. So when it comes to Santa, that was just all the easier. We hadn't really thought about, and Santa True talked about the 12 days, the night
Not
before
before
Christmas.
Christmas.
And it's
in a particular meter that fits any traditional ballad.
So she starts off with singing it.
My Girl. Yeah.
My Girl.
Yeah.
I do
Temptations.
the Beverly Hillbillies.
Ballad of Jed Clampett.
Ballad of Jed Clampett. Then the next part
Pick
is,
up the Irish washerwoman jig. An Irish jig, everybody knows it.
and then I do Guthrie's.
This land is your
This
land.
land is your land.
And then we break
We
into
finish
Let's
the
Do
last
It.
part. We can do the last part.
Freddie Mercury.
He
He spoke not a word, but went straight to his work. He filled every stocking, then turned with a jerk, laying a finger aside of his nose, giving a nod up the chimney he rose. We will, ho ho. We will, ho ho. He sprang to his sleigh, to his team gave a whistle, and away they all flew like the down of a thistle. But I heard him exclaim, ere they drove out of sight, Happy Christmas to all, and to all a good night. Merry, Merry Christmas.
Merry, Merry Christmas.
And we've got another little
Well,
tag,
and then
but we
we
don't
do
need to
it-
do
no,
that.
I like that
Okay,
part.
you
I
like
like
that part,
But
okay.
then we finish with, he goes,
Because we are the reindeer, my friends, and we'll keep on flying till the end. We are the reindeer, we are the reindeer. No time for Ubers, 'cause we are the reindeer of the North Pole.
Right, that's absolutely right.
Well, the fun thing is whenever you do that in a large group or something, they're pretty kind of, oh God, you know. But when you
Then
start
they
to
start
stomp,
getting into it.
there's
Everyone's
there's that
there.
awareness.
Yeah.
You know, 'cause when
Yeah.
Robert was doing his, Santa True was doing his, that's when we started looking into what could be. And she's corrected me. There's a lot of anti-war '60s tunes I'm not allowed to sing into.
A little too much connotation.
and it would be old people like us that would know it. There's a few other tunes that we come up with that can't carry through it, but it could fit a little the beginning, or it could fit a little piece. But it's just stuff like that makes it a lot of fun. And
Kind of become our signature. Yeah.
the toughest part of the job, though, is a precocious child who knows everything and challenges you in every way. And the greatest thing you learn in this is deflection and tormenting him back. But a perfect one is, well, what's my name? You don't know your name? Oh my God. I can give you a name. Hold on. Sniggle Snort. You know, no, you know, but it's what's my elf's name? And
The elf on the shelf.
that's the difficult one. A lot of the Santas aren't keen on the elf on the shelf. He's supposed to be like that pestering little, always seeing what you're doing and reporting back. I guess some need that little, you know, because they've even got a little thing now that they like to sell. It goes on the ceiling and it's like a little red flashing light. And it's supposed to be the eyes of the North Pole watching you. It's creepy enough that the song says Santa is watching
He sees you when you're sleeping.
He sees you. No, but yeah, they'll challenge you with all the questions and.
But now we've come up with the best deflection on that when they ask what the elf name is. They said, well, the elves we know them by their actually elvish name. And that's very different from the name that you gave them. So we will call them by their elvish name. So what did you name your elf? Because we call him, you know, and we decided that's where the Sniggle Snort came from. You know, how some children, say Native American children, might be based on something that was there, something in nature that was there when the child was born. Well, elves, they are not born crying, they are born laughing. So it's the sound of their laughter that gives us their name. So there's Sniggle Snort, there's Guffaw, there's Tee, there are all sorts of names. So those are how elves get their names.
Well, there's one, and the other thing too, whenever they tell you their name, I've learned, always ask how it's spelled. There's so many different
the child's
ways,
name.
The child's
Yes.
name. There's so many different ways to spell Amy. And I met a young lady at a clothing store yesterday. Her name was.
Don't worry about it.
No, I like it.
Okay.
Was it Luna?
No,
No, what was the word? It was a Christmas word.
but it was
Anyway, the first 4 letters of her name was like Noel, but it was 5 or 6 more letters with it.
I think it was Yulia. Yulia or something like that. Yes.
But when you're always out in public, I like to greet and say back, and I was going to say back her name, and I went, I cannot pronounce that. I said, how do you say it? And she said, yeah, Yulia, because it's like Yule. And I said, that is awesome. I said, and I told her, I said, I keep a list. And I always want to make sure I spell a child's name right. Behind you are some good list certificates that I've had made up. And when you go to write, that's one of the challenges. Do you know how to spell my name? I said, first, child, understand. I'm Popo Gijo, I'm Santa Claus, I'm Kris Kringle, so what are you doing today? But yeah, it's been amazing to me that name spellings are so unique. Not amazing, but I find it, I like it. Yeah, because my personal first name being Era, I never used in school. My mom always wondered, I was Bobby, Robert, and then only in my senior year did I go by Era. But teachers would always look at me first day of school in roll call or talking, and they'd go, I'm not exaggerating, they would all go, you go by Bob, or you go by Robert. So senior year of school, I did not put Robert as a middle name, I just put Era. And I made them all call me that. And I didn't know the mistake I made, because 15 years later, when I was getting all these calls for what I didn't know was the reunion, I thought it was bill collectors, because nobody asked for Era, but a bill, and nobody calls me Era but my mom when she's mad at me, because that's my first name. But yeah, I'll use that sometimes. Say I know a child whose name is Era, and they're like, "What?" I say, "How do you spell that?" And some will say ERA, ARA. Some say IRA, IRA. I'm really surprised why they do that. But I said, yeah, it's not so simple, is it? I said, so help me spell your name. And then they'll usually do something like Joe. Like, okay. But
So how do you spell yours?
ARA.
ARA.
Now, best I could find out, my family, nobody told me how and why and who that I'm named that way. My grandmother made some real weird thing about something, and my daughter, who did a family tree thing, couldn't find it. The words used a lot, European,
find it.
but it
In Ancestry, yeah.
Yeah, Ancestry, and
Yeah.
so we did find it somewhere back there, but I don't know how.
I think it was misspelling of Ira.
Yeah,
I think it was Ira originally.
but
yes.
in Latin, with Era meaning 83rd constellation of the universe, it's the altar. And being a young boy with my telescope and stuff, I was, wow, I'm 83rd. And then I tried to look up, well, how do you pronounce it? So I always kind of, it's Ara, the R is rolled, or something. So I'll be corrected. But I just put Era and or Ara. It just really depends on when I'm doing it. But but then I just ultimately gave up, went by my dad's, what he went by, which is Bob. It's easy to spell. So is Era, but people get confused. And the last name's bad enough, being Bulick, Bulick. I like to tell them we were part of the dynasty of Bulick. had family falling out. They said we couldn't keep the name. So they said we had to put an L in it. So we put an L in it so it wouldn't, if we could get the L out of there.
Now our biggest challenge these days is the neighborhood all knows us as the Santa and Mrs. Claus. They see us leaving, they see us coming in and going out, and we have.
Well, your tag out there says.
Well, you started that, but the children in the neighborhood, we've got several who like to come visiting. And they'll talk their grandmother into walking them around here, and they'll come and we'll have some nice front porch chats
we'll have
as
letters
we go.
Left to us. We had one boy. My father decorated every Christmas.
Lights up.
Yeah, but his lights were homemade, and things caught fire, things melted, but the house was always lit some way. And I always took on to that. So with my kids and that, this house gets festooned. And not as much as I'd love to, but it's not too crazy. And we got a letter. I have a little Santa Claus and a reindeer on
blow mold
on the chimney
that we put up on the chimney.
And the little note was thanking us for.
It was written in crayon. I think the little, probably 6-year-old boy and his dad helping him, saying thank you for putting up Santa Claus. We love seeing him, and for making Christmas so magical.
Well, the only good thing about the two little girls that come around a lot was their grandmother that walks them is my height, if not a little taller, so that when you look through the peephole, you don't see anybody. Because the little guys, so you don't open the door going, oh, yeah. But what you see the grandma, you're like, no, what are you guys doing?
And that's the other. It's always an interesting thing. We've all of our grandchildren know that we are Claus ambassadors, but that we know the real Santa, and Mrs. Claus.
Yeah, we help Santa.
And so that's, they know that we're not the real ones, but they'll see the real ones at their school or the party that they're going to. And now we have a great niece here in town who he has been now 2 years to her preschool. And she's young enough that for the first 3 years of her life, she didn't want anything to do with him anyway. She was just a big scary guy. It's a beard thing. Most little children, 1-year-olds, don't want to see that beard. I think it's just too animalistic. So so she didn't want anything to do with him. So I think, and that's it. That red suit goes on, and they do transform, because.
Well, she didn't want anything still to do with me the first year.
Yeah.
At her school, she stayed back. But then the second year, she came over and sat, and we talked.
Then 3 days later, we're at my sister's house. We're all there for Christmas, and he's just in regular clothing. He's not in, Santa, in any kind of Santa clothing. He's not really getting in her face. But I notice if you really sidelong glances, but my niece, her mother, has said, oh no, we talk about it, and I tell her, Uncle Bob really looks like Santa Claus, doesn't he? So she's like, yeah, he really does. Isn't that cool? He really looks like Santa Claus.
And so far this year, she's been quite friendly, not too scared.
Yeah.
We have a granddaughter, my daughter in LA, her daughter's in Texas. But my granddaughter out there, when we went out for a visit, Elena was 5 maybe or so.
Yeah.
She knew I was going to see Santa True, who lived nearby. And so I just told her I get to visit Santa. And we're going to talk about and I was kind of working that, and I showed her a picture of Santa True. And she wanted to go. And I said, I can't, it's secret, I can't take you. I wish I could. But you got to, then I said questions. So we went over and visited. I did a selfie for her. We get home, and she's gotten her mother's phone, and she's typed in there, Granddaddy-o, can I have Santa Claus's phone number? And, and I texted her back. I said, sweetheart, if I give you his phone number to you, you call him all the time. And I can't do that. I said, if you have another question, let me know. And I'm blown away that she's texting. And so she gave me a question. I so wanted to give her another Santa here's phone number. Just, and what happened is a couple of my clients, in my phone, when it rings out identity, it says, be Santa. Because they have made, when it started off, the one client, one customer, I don't know how, a lovely lady, calls me, and I'm like, hi, to someone, hi Santa, I'm in the car, and the kids wanted to talk to you. I could have answered any number of, because I horseplay with her. I said, well, sure, ho, ho, ho. And knowing your kids, they're on the back seat, so they had a little fun. And then I get this regular call from another that's doing this,
He wants to scold the children by threatening them with talking to Santa.
But see, my attitude is, you tell me I'm to correct this child in public or anyway, I'm like, I hear you're not doing too good in your homework. Oh yeah, I said, I never was either. Man, homework really bites, doesn't it? And the mom or dad's always like, said, look, your parents want you to do better, and it's good that you do better. But you're okay with me. You're still going to get a gift. Santa doesn't get mad about that. I had one parent say, I don't scold. I'm not a parent, and I'm Santa Claus. But you get those that want to have you do that, and it's like, no. I had one father. I was the Santa at Botanic Gardens since they began for many years.
Botanic St. Nick.
Botanic St. Nick. So I dressed in a green robe. I like to joke, if you told my mom that someday her son would walk around in the woods in a green robe with a shrubbery on his head, she'd probably go,
okay, sounds about right.
Sounds about right. Lovely engagement. I love the Botanic Gardens. I would jump out of bushes because I'm green. You can't see me. But I'd horseplay and have a lot of fun. In this one group, the father had gotten to me early. They're going to ask you what to put out for Christmas. I like single malt, and I forget what the other item was. Okay. He goes, so the kids get up there and we're fit in all that, and the child is like, what do you want out, for cookies? What's your favorite cookie? And I said, well, I'm not really keen on cookies a lot, and I'm having trouble with milk. And Dad's like, I love buttermilk though, and I like carrots. So I'm thinking, yeah, drink that. And he's just like, and
ask Santa to tell the child to put out alcohol.
Yeah,
I don't think so.
Well, it's a good idea, but no. And the one thing I started, which I don't get to do very often, but if it's not fun for Santa or Mrs. Claus, it's not fun for anybody. But it became obvious at the gardens a couple of times. Fathers would say, "Oh, I'm not on the good list," or I'd say, "Is Dad on the good list?" And the kid said, "No, he's naughty. He makes me." And so I come up with these little badges, and it shows a little picture of Santa Claus doing this, and it says "Noogie Time," and on top says, "I'm back on Santa's good list." So basically, what the badge that I told one particular Santa, I can put you on the good list, but there's something special I have to do, and let me tell you. And so I took one father aside. I said, I'm going to put you in a half Nelson, and I'm going to give you 3 noogies. I'm not going to do it mean. I'm not going to do it rough, but act out like I am. Just make it worthwhile. And 3 noogies, all it takes, and you're back on the good list. And he's like, I'm good. Well, before this one started and how it all began, he didn't want to be on the good list. He was good. After I told him, he said, well, that's okay, and they left. And as they come back, and he's like 6 foot something plus, he says, the kids he wants on the good list, he wants on the good list. I said, you really do? And yeah, it's okay, you guys, Mom, you got the camera? Okay. You got to bend over. So he did this, and
He calls it his hard reset.
it's hard reset.
Kind of like
Hard
Control
reset.
Delete.
Yeah, and did that. They had a lot of fun. I made the badges up. I've got pictures of a number of people that were agreeing to hard resets. But we're at a gathering of Santas with a professional placementer.
Kind of an agent. Yeah.
For Oklahoma
Yeah.
City.
Yeah.
And she's a sweet person. Love Becky to death. And told her I did this at the gardens. And she's like, oh. I said, you okay? I'm just thinking of my liability. And she goes, what would somebody think when they saw you do that?
From a distance.
And I was like,
Yeah. Who doesn't know the context? Yeah.
Okay, or took a picture of Santa. I said, I'm it's okay. I'll take that challenge if they want to make it look mean. The person I'm doing this to, if they get them, would say differently, and I've got a badge. I'll give you one before you leave, but you won't have to have the noogies. But it's like the whole thing about being Santa and Mrs. Claus that makes it great is the circumstances that come up.
Mm.
And if you're open to the joy of it and the fun of it, something comes out of it.
Yeah, there's a lot of really fun improvisation that can come out of things.
I'm getting that impression.
Yeah.
Tormenting
You have to be
her is
ready.
more
You
fun
have
than
to be
anything.
ready for anything.
Yeah.
Oh, the one moment I had early on that really left me wondering how this was going to work out. That same Bixby arena, it was the line had really dwindled down. The kids were off on the playgrounds at the skating rink doing everything. And Santa had taken a necessary break. So he had scooted over, and a couple of adults, a man and a woman out, I guess, for an evening of partying. He was rather inebriated. Came up, and he wanted to get particularly a picture on Mrs. Claus's lap. And the photographer really wasn't alert enough to know there's something really got to be handled very carefully here. But there are kids around, and so we don't want to make a scene, anything like that. So I just that thinking of it really quick on your feet. At least it's a bench seat. We're on a big bench seat. And I said, okay, first off, your drink goes over there on that table over there, both of you. No, nothing near my suit. Okay, you're both going to do this. You're here, you're kneeling. You're here, you're kneeling. You can both give me a kiss on each cheek, and I will act surprised. And that's it. We're done. And they did it. They were satisfied. And
That's when she turned on the Boston Claus.
Yeah, control that situation so it doesn't get out of hand.
Yeah, I got a call for a lady wanted to have, there was 20-something women on a Sunday.
Of her girlfriends.
Her girlfriends at 10 o'clock, and they needed a Santa. And I said, okay, so we arranged it, and I'm going to go. And we joked, if I don't have a kidney when I come home,
Well, he asked, do you want Mrs. Claus too?
Nope,
We're like,
no,
no, just Santa. Just Santa.
And so there's all the kinds of sillinesses that we goofed with each other about, maybe I don't come home. I'm sold for body parts in Tijuana. No, bad. But I get over there, and it's a sorority. And what they're doing at their gathering is they've all brought their childhood photos that it was taken with them with Santa. And they have a photographer there that they're recreating that photo. Most of them are in similar dress. One lady had this crocheted
poncho type
like
thing.
a vest thing
Yeah.
on in the picture. Skinny young girl. And she's wearing identical match to everything practically. And she's not a big woman either, still. I said, you got somebody make you the same outfit. She goes, no, it's still the same one. It fits me. but it's amazing of all the different positions, hand gestures and facial things and everything. It was the most fun in the world recreating all this. The only thing I couldn't oblige them is they all wanted to be on the couch, and they wanted me to lay across their knees like a pinup poster boy, I said, "Oh, ladies, I'm a big guy. How about I lay along the back of the couch?" but other than that, it was. I really thought that was one of the fun things because you never know what you're getting into. You know, as long as the address isn't somewhere that your car can't find to drive you, don't go there. You know, and stuff. But yeah, it's just a lot of fun, and I keep trying. Jocelyn doesn't necessarily go out on a lot of events herself, but if there are readings, we've been hoping to do some things at the local library.
Yeah, do some things occasionally, but ultimately, when it came down to it, I had my years of doing community theater, of doing college theater. I kind of got that bug out. And so I know what goes into it. And so I am really, really thrilled to work as a team, work as a team in partnership, because it's a very, very different experience. Yeah, when you're working with your spouse as an entertainer and performer. One time he was already booked and I had to get another Santa who is his doppelganger. They look very much alike, but to perform with Doug instead. And I don't think the kids knew the difference, but it was just very weird working with another Santa. There are women who do it all the time and who will work with any number of Santas. And it's not that I wouldn't want to, but it's like, this is kind of nice that we've got it's our business and it's what we do together.
It's like the training that we've had and we like to help others with. Is you might interact with another Santa or another Mrs. Claus, not your own. And the big important thing is to meet up ahead of time. So what is your story? What's your backstory to everything you do? Right. So you try to share so that there's not any confusion. There usually isn't. And you guys can mesh real well. And
we're the research geeks, so I've helped us. We've developed a very, very, very sophisticated backstory. And
she doesn't like mine where I say, working on my filter, only a couple of 100 years with her. And the story is, and she'll say how we met. But it got me to going, Santa's 57 years old?
1,700.
1,757 years old this year. Yes. You know, you kind of lose track of your birthdays after a while. So if he's got a Mrs. Claus a couple of 100 years old, he's been around this long, what happened to the other 5 or 6? So there's this little special cemetery up on the hill with all the Mrs. Clauses. And so that's not what you can share.
But that's where I get into loving. I've got it over there, the book. I am a research nerd as well, so looking at the development of Christmas in America and how that all came about and how Santa Claus and all of these kind of Father Christmas from Europe became Santa Claus with very specific role, that he does. And then all of a sudden, because none of the ones in Europe have wives, none of them, there's a witch, Befana, in Italy, but she is not a Mrs. Claus whatsoever. And she's a much, much, much older tradition. So it was really America that wanted to turn Santa Claus and Christmas, and it had to do with Clement Clark Moore. It had to do with Godey's Ladies magazine. A lot of these influences that were really that Victorian celebration of domestic, beautiful, blissful life, doting on the children. And so as part of that, suddenly Santa has a wife and is married. And she's very early on given, the roles, responsibilities, what she must do up at the North Pole. So I developed this early on through schools to work on that Santa, my Mrs. Claus, was born just after the American Revolution. And that's a lot of this based on my own family ancestry work. She was born just after the Revolution, and her father died young. So her uncle in Western Massachusetts was caring for. And there's actually a story that's in this book about a grumpy old shopkeeper who was so angry, wrote a letter to the editor about these Calathumpian bands, which were basically just wild young men coming, reveling, early form of caroling at your doors, but demanding that wassail and demanding this. And he just thought they were hoodlums and got into it. Well, in my story, I really liked that. I liked the music. I liked the singing. And Santa had actually heard me singing out to the cows in the fields. And my uncle, though, by this time, I was too wild. I was pretty much a spinster.
Is that when I
So I was sent off. I don't know about that, but I was sent off to New York City because it was that's where society would celebrate on Christmas Day, New Year's Day at that point. Society families would host. That was the day that young gentlemen could come courting women on New Year's Day, and that was the deal. So I met him. He found out where I was, and he came in, this old bearded gentleman, and came and started courting me at this house on New Year's Day. And then we went out for a walk, and he told me some really outrageous stories, and it took a while, but it all worked out in the end.
And I always thought that story here recently, it hit me. There's a movie, The Time Traveler. Is that it, the title?
Oh, The Time Traveler's Wife.
Time Traveler's Wife.
Yes.
And it's like, I got to thinking, because the time traveler met his wife when she's a young girl, and it always came back to visit her through her time span. And I thought, well, that sounds interesting. So, intentions aren't there for anything. We find ourselves in context of some little oddity, and it goes away, it comes back, and then fast forward many years later, and you're like, you understand why that person is who you're attracted to, because they've just been all around your history, your time. So I guess Santa wasn't too weird. but
well, and Jossie loved Christmas very much, and he took her and he showed her a Christmas tree through a window, which those were just unheard of. So it just further developed her love of Christmas, and because he knew where all of those
I don't historically lay my Santa in vein of the Turkish Saint Nicholas, right, or any. Pretty much, I put him where he began in the States as
Santa Claus.
Santa Claus, as a Coca-Cola, right. Santa Claus is kind of a
30s, or when was that?
That would be the early 1800s.
Early 1800s.
Okay, yeah.
Clement Moore's story kind of fits a little bit of that, fights a little bit of that in. Oh, and this thing I created, you're not going to keep it. No, it's all right. So that's kind of like an evil eye to keep track of me.
Okay.
And that's the last pipe I ever smoked. And that's the date, which is shortly after Clement Moore's story came out. And the background on that is, I promised to stop smoking.
When we got married, he promised he wasn't going to smoke pipes anymore.
And then when Clement Moore's story comes out, she goes, hey, it says a stump of a pipe he held tight in his teeth, and the smoke had encircled his head like a wreath. I thought you quit. I did. That was so, to make it official, I put my pipe up, and I don't smoke. But yeah, no, more of a little. I don't get too caught up in. I love is it Germany? The beautiful blue, elaborate robes.
That's Dead Moroz in Russia.
In Russia.
Yeah.
Those, but I'm more attracted to
Grandfather Frost. Yeah.
The outfits and the history, I suppose, of some of it.
Like I said, it's everyone, and we realized especially these older people. It's a chance to be creative, to dress up. Girls got the chance to play dress up. when they were little. Boys generally didn't get the chance until very recently, really. You know, they might put on a superhero cape, but that was about it.
Well,
But you get a room full of Santas in there with their highly decorated, stitched, bejeweled parade robes, and they are having as much fun as any little girl in a princess
I like
dress
to think of
is.
it as the drag queens of Christmas.
Yes.
I mean, I find it wonderful. Everybody has friends, the spirit of drag queens. And I know it's probably a negative to a lot of people, but it's innocent. It's not everything they make it up to be for the spirit of that. And it's just putting on a role, being somebody else. There's a lot more depth to it all than people think. I would not be a drag queen because I'm one ugly. I can't imagine this shaved ever. But you know, from the age of 9 till I was 13, my mom and her sisters dressed me up as a girl for Halloween, and I thought it was cool. And the reason it stopped was at the age of 13, with my Halloween bag coming home. I might have been 12. It might have been going on younger to then. I'm walking home with my candy. My sister is elsewhere. My younger sister. I'm not doing the big brother job of watching her. A car comes by and a bunch of guys whistling, and I go, "I'm a dude," in my best deep voice. I had to run home fast. I lost my mom's high heels. I don't know what else it was I lost, but I managed to get home without my candy. So I'm not going to do this anymore. But it's unfortunate to that. But yeah, just dressing up, having some
That
fun,
freedom,
being
that
someone other
creativity.
than who you are, exploring. It's a great acting. I mean, that's why I would love to have been an actor. I wouldn't be a good one, not like you, because I can't state a script. I live in the middle. And if somebody does something on me, I'm yonder. You know, forget about it. That's why with my friend that does the commercials for Eskimo Joe's, we do a lot of retakes, and my line might just be, you know, "Hi, Stan, ho ho ho," but it's Davis is kind. You know, it's like, who else they gonna get that looks like me? A lot of guys.
Well, what was your first suit that you got? What was it like? Your first Santa suit?
I just sold it to another
the Santa
person.
suit. Okay.
Putting,
First Santa suit.
it was a Halco,
Yeah, Calco
a
brand.
red velvet. It had white fur all the way up the neck,
Up the
and
front,
up
and
the
then
front.
around the neck.
It
high
wouldn't snap
on the
around my neck because my throat's kind of big. So you've got this little flap of white poking, you know, and you're trying to fight it all the time. It's got spats that came with it to cover, you know, your feet. It was such a big suit and heavy that the next one we bought was like one of these Coca-Cola suits, and it fit.
That's just the style of that suit with the
Yeah.
kind of Peter Pan collar,
Yeah,
and
nothing
then the
buttons on
fur
the front.
and no fur down the front.
I had, in the meantime, bought a pair of, the boots aren't really expensive because a lot of Santas spend crazy money for nice boots, and I'd love to have a pair of them, but these boots are very affordable and they're great. The belt buckle is not, and belt, I've got 2 different buckles and the big leather belt. So it morphed from a patent leather, this belt that's on the mailbox is what came with it. And I've got others that they come with that suit as well, but you wear a fancier belt, you have a little bit better shoe, you put a different pin on. The hats are fine, but then you get different outfits and different hats. So things just start progressing. But that one suit is such an iconic look that it's easier to have. The original suit, when we sold it to a photographer who's using her husband this year, he's 6'2", she said.
Yeah.
I'm 5'10". So he puts the suit on and it was perfect. And I'm thinking, how did it ever fit me? You know, and I remember, that hangs to my knees as it is. but that was even more so. And the pants fit him, so I must have, I don't know how I managed to
Well, you
wear
can
it.
cram a lot of pants down inside those boots.
Well, I think what helps the length of the pants is when the girth increases, it shortens the length. but yeah, it was. We bought it here locally at a Halloween costume shop. It was not a cheap suit. I think it cost us a little over like $400. This suit probably runs about that, maybe $5. A Santa decked out in an outfit like that could find himself out of pocket probably $1,500 or more. If it's fancy at custom boots, $3,000. Custom suit itself could add a couple of thousand to that. If
But
you're
fortunately,
I have a seamstress.
and I had to make all of my own anyway because I decided very early on that the solid red dress with fur on the cuffs, fur at the neck, and mob cap was just not anything about the kind of Mrs. Claus that I was. So I started right away making my own costumes, and our best find was when an interior design fabric store was going out of business and had all of their drapery and upholstery fabric marked down 50% off, and we went shopping and we got things that we could have never, exactly, but stuff that we would have never have been able to afford otherwise, and made up some very, very beautiful parade outfits, super fancy sort of old world costumes that we still use.
It makes sense when the Santas have the elaborate suits and stuff. If you're going to be at a parade or a seasonal lighting, you might want to have something a little bit bigger. Like I say, the one Santa that was many years in the parade just until the last few years, and still does the Utica lighting. He's a photographer by trade, like I said, and a traditional bearded. But there's something about him and his look. Traditional bearded Santas have a great advantage that they just expand the look so much bigger, so much exaggerated. The beard is pure white.
And elaborately curled sometimes.
And this is okay. It flashes whiter than it looks in person, so it fits that. But if you can dress that big, step up, that's perfect for those. But when you run out to a little family and the kids got gooey, sticky fingers, I mean, I had one little girl at a television thank you to advertisers who wanted me to come and greet. And children were all marvelous, but they're over there doing cookies with tubs of gooey colored stuff, and then running over going, "Here's Santa." No, can you put it in a bag? And this one little girl took that to heart, came back, had it in a bag, and she's yanking my coat up because she said, "You got pockets, don't you?" And she's shoving it in my pocket, and then she's like, "You got a T-shirt on too." What are you doing? On that particular night, she just followed me all over the place. The mother come over, "Is she bothering you?" Yes, she is, quite a lot, but it's okay. And I'd drag her around to somebody. Say, "This is my little elf." What was it? I told her, "Dumb for brains" or something. She goes, "My name's not Dumb for brains." "That's what you told me." "No," and I forget. It's like Susie. But I'd do that and just torment her to death. And in the middle of a photograph, she'd come up and go, "Yeah," and start dragging me. But it's great with you go to a private home, they're doing the same thing, the sticky stuff. You send out a little sheet early, the top 10 things to have a great visit. You let them know that you're going to want to gather family and how might you situate. Maybe where you want the pictures taken, think of the time of day. Take pictures of somebody else there that time of day. Is there something going on? Is the window too bright? All this stuff.
Is the fireplace too hot for somebody sitting in
Don't
fur?
crank the fireplace.
Yeah.
Don't put Santa. Have a fan, please. Santa will have a fan, but if you do, little nuances that we add to because we learned something new.
And we never eat or drink when we're outfitted. Yeah, we never do that. Just way too easy to ruin your suit for that next.
It's awful
that
to
next person.
turn down ribs.
Do you know?
Well, but we have a few clients who will, pack a little Santa goodie bag, to send after, which is marvelous.
A few of them are great. It's like, it's okay. You open it up, what's this? But it's all okay. But yeah, we.
Do you go through drive-thrus or something while you're in character?
Sometimes.
Once.
Sometimes.
The worst
do.
Worst is for me. I didn't normally start off, and I resisted Christmas Eve. Because Christmas Eve is my holiday too. And it started off with first a client that I never became her client, but she used a line I only heard in my construction work. What's your I don't want to do it price? And I learned you don't give that price because they'll pay it. But I told her, no, I don't do Christmas Eve. Well, the next year or so, we got to thinking and said, I could still have our holiday, and I could do just 2, maybe 1 run out. So that's how it started.
Mm-hmm.
And it could have been worse, so we backed off where it's like 4 Christmas Eve, but you start at 6, and they're 15-minute visits. Hi ho, go by, yay!
Because then you've got a 30-minute drive to the next person.
One, and you've got to plan everything, and you stay a little longer. You don't really leave a child wanting if there is, but then I didn't get home till 10 or 11.
Yeah. And
you think you've tinkled plenty. And you don't want to ask a client, can you use their restroom? So in this one case, one of my clients, my third one, the first time this occurred, is in Wasso, is north of here, 30 minutes. And I'm like, I am doomed. I probably should have come home. But no, not from where I was. Yeah. So there's a little, I've been there twice, 2 different years. There's a little quick trip like
mini mart, gas
mini
station.
mart.
Yeah.
And the first time when I went to use the restroom, and I'm out, I'm in costume, and there's people standing over here, and I'm like, ho, 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 Merry Christmas, and, whatever, and go in and say, I hope you have a bathroom. And I'm like, thank you. And I'll go to the bathroom. Well, the first time it was kind of like nobody really in there. When I got in, used the restroom, came out, and there's a young boy and a man, and I was like, looked at the guy, thank you, you just saved Christmas. And the little like, Santa? Yes. And as I get outside, the daddy, can we have a picture? Absolutely. So, and he's like, where's your reindeer? Well, to use the restroom, I can't bring the reindeer down here. They drop me off, and I'm borrowing that car over there. So, but the second time was the same thing. When I came in, the place was full of it. And I said, you want to save Santa? You want to save Christmas? Yeah. Where's the bathroom? And I came out that time. I know one of the people go, why don't you just, no. It's like, but you just have to, you kind of have to work it and accept it. And like I say, when I tell the other Santas when they mess up, you may not see them again next year. They'll have a story to tell. It's not a forever albatross on your neck having done.
Mm-hmm.
So the one thing, because you worry, do I get a flat while I'm out? Well, I can't change the tire easily and not get dirty this way. I've been fortunate. We've had the 10 years, 11 years, and no flats, no yard side.
The
knock on wood while you're saying that.
Yeah. That might have been how I got out there with him to Claremore that first year for the group where the little girls were taking up a lot of his time.
They're very cute.
He got out to go, and his car wouldn't start. And so we ended up taking the other vehicle, to do that. But that, I'm trying to think if that might have been the first time I went out with you. That I was just being your driver or something.
Some events and places to go, you do your best to Google and be aware. I think in one case I had a mom with her 3 girls two girls and a boy. There's a candy store here, one of my real early on, and I got a call from her husband, who was a doctor, and they wanted me to come out to their house. Christmas Eve, was that Christmas Eve?
Yeah, that was your first Christmas Eve.
First Christmas Eve.
Yeah.
And I got all the address. It was just a trifecta of perfection. The children got to see me at the candy store, Santa Bob. I was going to be on a local weather station early that morning. I called to let her know so they could see Santa Claus doing the weather. And then Santa Claus comes to their house. Well, as much as I knew their house, it's out here near
Port of Catoosa.
Yeah. And it's not a far drive, but it's a back road up into a very high-end neighborhood
With no streetlights.
Well, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
When I went out and I identified the house, there it is. So I go out that night and I go up the hillside and I'm like, wow, it's dark. And I get up into the neighborhood and there's just distant corner lights. And none of the houses have lights on the brick mailboxes that have the addresses on them. And I'm like, oh, geez, because I didn't in my head say third on the left or fourth on the left. It was obvious with the address. As I'm driving in that direction, I see a father, I assume, and his son standing out in the driveway that night, looking up. And I go, there they are. They go in. I said, pull in the driveway, finish whatever I got to do, go over and knock on the door, and the dad opens up. Ho, 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 and it's not the doctor. And it's like, ho, ho, ho. Merry Christmas! Merry Christmas, Santa! Why are you here? Well, I wasn't sure of your address because I have a special gift for you, young man, that I have to bring, and I'm glad I know where you are. I said, now I got to check out Dr. Saxton, I think his name. And he goes, and he's holding the boy, and he goes, oh, he's right nearby. Thank you. I said, can I leave my, yeah, you can leave that in the driveway. So I walk next door, and I know there's a boy out there that's just blown away beside the dad. But yeah, if you go to a wrong address, you don't excuse yourself, and you don't give them hard times to show. You'll be there, and you'll stay as long as the fascination holds. But you have to let Santa sneak away. So there's a lot. And I don't crowd people for visits. But yeah, when he opened up the door, because I had Googled and I knew who the doctor looked like, I was like, oh, geez, I'm doomed. But yeah, and then you drive home from a gig. If it's daytime, you hang your suit, your arm out on the sleeve. You get what I call being an attractive nuisance might cause a wreck, because people will go up, slow back down, and they'll want to take a picture. And we've gotten that on the highway going out to LA.
Yeah. Yeah,
you're driving 80 miles an hour. You shouldn't be doing this.
But they see the license plate, and they recognize, and they'll pull up kind of pace so everybody can wave.
And what color's the vehicle?
Well, hers is red. And
red,
it says
yes,
in pole. That was the original tag I had. But mine, it went on. That never went on my truck, did it?
North Pole?
Yeah.
North Pole was on your truck.
But then when I retired, I didn't want to pick up anymore. I figured out that I could build something like this and haul it in a Kia Soul, which is a small. I wanted something gas.
And it's
good.
Bright green.
Right. And I have people say, "Why not red?" No, it's a Grinchmobile. And fun things I've done, but I don't do much anymore.
Now that license plate.
That one's Toy Maker. And we get called out on that a lot. We were grocery shopping the other day, and
a woman followed us in this store.
And she's, what'd she do? She
looked and she goes, oh, Toy Maker. I'm parked next to you. I get it now. Yeah.
No, it's fine. I used to hang. I still do occasionally, but I don't. The Santa hat that's been printed and laminated so you see both sides look like a Santa hat. This one says naughty, and this one says nice. And I just have it there like you gotta guess I could have had a pine tree, and I would flash what it was at guys, or being silly or whatever. And I had a lady, I come beside and she's just on her phone, And we stop at the light, and I look, and she looks over at me, and I go, and I turn it to naughty, and she goes, and I'm thinking, okay, that's a little twisted. I shouldn't go around. I'll just leave it alone. Just let it be. But yeah, the Claremore thing with the church, the fun thing, when I did drive myself the first time, I wasn't sure where I was going. So I'm mapping on my phone. And I'm driving, and I got my phone going. And Highway Patrol comes beside me. And they go, beep. And I'm like, they beep again? Oh, okay. So I pull over and roll the window. Did I do something wrong? You're on your cell phone. No, I'm not. I'm just mapping where I... Oh. I'm sorry. You going to give me a ticket? He goes, oh, hell no, Santa. I'm not going to be the guy that gives Santa a ticket. So a warning? Not even. Just don't use your phone. Thank you. You're on the good list. I need it. Thank you, Santa. But yeah, I'm just waving at him with the cell phone. You know,
he had just figured out how to do mapping.
I just got to follow the little blue dot.
Yep.
But yeah, but
they didn't ask for a selfie.
No,
we should have. I should have. You know, with her car and mine, it has a program on it, mapping, which is great. So you can enter stuff, and it can lead you around. When we got her car, it was when we really put it to use on a vacation to Boston and the East Coast. A bunch of stuff that we don't do a lot of vacations like that. But you learn real fast that mapping will say next right, but it means in 2 miles. Or if you've poked in there no turnpikes or other things, it puts you on a road that, you know, in a tractor you shouldn't drive. You know, we got set off the highway in one direction. We're on a
that was because there had been very heavy rains and some street flooding and road work going on too. So it tried to divert us.
Yeah, and then so we're good. We're going in, and it's a right with the signage, and we're going up pretty much a gravelly dirt incline. And we get to the top, and there's a sign that says
we have to go left and back down the hill.
But it basically
says drive at your own risk.
We're like, and it's very narrow. So for about
and it's mud, and it's been raining heavily.
So we're going down this thing, and really not sure where are we. We've seen too many.
Yeah, we're in the middle of Ohio Amish country. Yeah. Yes.
Well, there you're probably at worst you're going to be fed good bread.
Yeah.
But you know, and made to walk in a wagon. Anyway, so we get down to the bottom of it, and we can see from approximately where we were diverted because of the road barricades, and then this barricade here. But as we get on the road, we're okay now. There's a semi coming this way that's going to have to make that. And I don't know what he must have done, but we started taking a little pause to our navigational information. We still like the paper maps, but you're like,
you need that backup. Yeah.
And you know you messed up because recalculating. But that was a lot of fun. I wanted to go in the pilgrimage. That's a gourd and what I wanted to do.
We are gardeners.
We're gardeners.
And that's our story is that since nothing really grows at the North Pole, we come down here. We have a summer house down here in Oklahoma where we can grow vegetables to take back up north for the Alps to keep them all healthy.
Yeah.
But he likes to grow gourds. I don't know what I have no idea what he's doing now. But he made a gourd hat.
So I made the little gourd hat. We got to meet a lady up there. The road out front of hers is Rachel
Carson Way. She's in Ithaca, New York.
And she grows gourds and seeds. And this is some of the seeds that she had sent me. Got to go up there in Santa Alpha and help her plant the crop during that season. But what I learned from her hold it.
It's not going to do it. It's too bright in here.
Oh, it's going to do it. So you get to light up. I'm working on the light system to make this gourd have all these nice colors.
That's very pretty.
And
yes.
the only downside, this is a bad light. Oh yeah, I have to turn it. This is not a light you should have. But I don't know if they make a gourd big enough for me to wear.
Oh,
but-
big enough. Yeah.
But it almost, but we have those that we're growing. We got a bunch of gourds from her here, but like she says, we can grow carrots and stuff for the elves and the reindeer at the North Pole.
So that's what you do in your free time.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes,
well,
yes.
she gardens and I still woodwork. I make games and
Well, all
stuff.
and thrones
Yeah,
and.
well, let's talk about the throne
Oh,
It's-
yes.
a little bit
Yeah,
more.
yeah.
When and how and all that came about.
Well, there's a program called SketchUp. It's a beautiful program. It's a CAD Lite, if somebody might say, but it's a drawing program that I was fortunate on in a job for a company to understand. I already had it, but it was not complicated. Like a lot of things, it's just figuring out little nuances. So I was playing with it, thinking about the Santa throne. I needed a Santa throne, and like all my designs, I listed needs, best use of materials, ease of transportation, and will it fit through a door? And that mostly is the cart idea. So in this program, I was able, what's great about it is you can draw whatever you like. You can manipulate and move like any good CAD program. And you could put it in context of a doorway, and so all this figured out. This was for me. I wind up with this elaborate set of plans and build ideas. And the interior of this are ribs. It's made kind of like a boat. The seat is put in what's called a French cleat. It's basically an angled piece of wood on one side and the opposite angle on the other, and they nest. So it lifts out easily. This is connected to the back by door hinges with a little drift loose pin. The feet are just wood-turned bun feet that I make, and they're threaded into a little bolt hole. It's covered. There's a lot of particular materials that a lot of people don't know about. This one's made, according to my upholsterer, like a battleship. Subsequent others were made
A little lighter weight.
Yeah. Instead of what they call wacky wood, which plywood bends with the curve, there's a heavy construction quality material that bends over with that. So there's a lot of ways to make this lighter. It only weighs about 90 pounds. With the cart, maybe 100. When I built it,
But it all comes apart, so we can just roll it into the car, then take it to the job, take it out. Takes 5 minutes to set it up, and he's ready to go.
Yeah, and it's as a consequence of all the drawings. When I built this, and finally found somebody willing to upholster it, which was a difficulty, like I was telling you earlier. I'm not sure why the resistance to upholster this by upholsterers or to upholster this by boat seat makers. It's marine vinyl. It's durable. This thing is 7, 8.
It is now. You built this in 17.
Yeah.
So it's been through 7 seasons.
And lots of visits, I don't take it generally to a simple family's home. It's usually like the candy store, some large corporate kind of thing where there's a little more time to set up and take out, even though it isn't long. I've had it out to family neighborhood groups, and in that case I show up as Santa with it, and if there's kids there I ask them to help me, and and they're always game to help hold it up. But I printed out I had some requests, so I put together all the drawings as a set of plans and made something up, and sold that. Thought it's really kind of cool. I can sell plans, which I hadn't thought about. And then when making this and posting pictures and posting the plans, I get a phone call or get a text wanting to talk to me. And the gentleman says his name is Mick Foley, who's a wrestler. And I'm like, yeah, right. So he calls me and says, "So you're Mick Foley?" He goes, yeah, seriously? And he goes, yeah, I'm really Mick Foley. When I realized it is Mick Foley, he was doing some Santa gigs after he left. He's still in wrestling, but after he kind of left it, he loved the chair, would like one. Minor changes, red piping or whatever you call that, same chair, candy cane and the like. And I was to send it to his place in
Up east.
up east,
Yeah.
way yonder.
Yeah.
But when we were talking, I said, you know, when you first texted me, I had to look you up. I know you, but I don't really. And I figured the first question that I get, and you're going to ask, is, will it hold my weight? And he goes, oh, yeah. And I said, it's perfect for you because from what I read, you're my height, and we both weigh about 300 pounds. He goes, how tall are you? I said, 5'10". And he goes, oh, those are sandbagging stats. And I said, really? Oh, in our youthful days, we'd take the badges off our cars so they didn't know we had a 440. So we could race and tell them it's grandma's 6-cylinder, right? Sandbagging being telling people Mick Foley is 5'10", 320 pounds when he's like 6'4", 280. But when he said that, I said, well, how big are you? And he told me, he goes, oh, geez, I was thinking I could take you in a ring. And he goes, anytime, fat man. But I got to meet him in person a few years later here in Tulsa. He comes a lot to a model, a place in Broken Arrow here that sells parts and things to put together. People that are makers that like to do big makings. But I got to meet him there and be friendly. But that kind of was the start. I made quite a few. It doesn't sound like a lot to most people. I made, I think, about 7 or 8. Completed or partial or sold parts or all of this. I've been very happy about that. I fell away from the making, not because I don't love making them, but shipping's never been kind. I mean, well, at maybe over a third the cost of this chair is just to ship it. And the chair's not cheap and I don't profit. You know, I'm not a good businessman. Somebody said, oh, well, there's a professional in our trades called Spangle the Clown. So if you ever need anything to do with Santa Claus, clowns, look up Spangle the Clown. It's his real name. He changed it. His wife is not Mrs. Spangle. She has her name. But he took the throne in his travels east to the west coast and set it up during the conventions and things he was part of to sell plans for me and thrones to build. It didn't sell that many. And his idea was, because he's a salesman, I'll keep you so busy, that's all you'll do. And I'm like, what do you makes you think this is all I want to do? But it made all those travels. It's still in great shape. Like I said earlier, Elvis has sat in this throne. He wasn't fake. And many other characters. That's all I told Spangle. I said, just send me pictures of people sitting in it. I want to know how many different kinds of buns have sat in my throne. And with the wrestler, his was wider, about that much. But the great thing about the design and coming up with what I did, it fit.
It's one shape. That's what I like about it. It's one shape. It's this.
Yeah,
it's this
candy cane
almost a candy cane shape. This hole at the center. This is repeated. Boom, 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 boom. This one's taller. Boom, 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 boom. The seat is exactly the same. Boom, boom, boom,
yeah,
boom.
every part is the same
So it's just
part.
every part is
Longer,
the same
shorter.
part. Yeah.
And I never
And they'll
thought
fit
about
together.
candy canes, but a friend of mine had a CNC, and he said, I'll make you some hollies. And I said, cool. So he made me the hollies, and I dyed those and put them on. But I love the candy canes. I like the grown-up look at this one.
Yeah.
The candy canes are cute that go on it because they curl around and go all the way down. But yeah, it's with on the dolly will go through a 30-inch door. So that was one of the main things. And then before I bought the Kia, I was in the midst of this. I was all online Googling, what's the capacity of the Kia? What are my height, width, because I know I'm happy here. I'm happy with the little cart I built for it to roll on. We'll let it go in, and it's got tons of room. The bigger one that I built will go in her cart. It won't go in mine. But I've since sold. I've sold a couple of the bigger ones. It's mostly a matter of storage. I'd still have the bigger one out.
Because we can only ever use one at a time anyway. And even though the one that was bigger he liked a lot, it still didn't. I couldn't sit with it in him. Sit with him in it. Yes, it still wasn't quite that big.
But I offered to rent this out to other Santas. I don't
Yep.
think any of them have taken me up on it. But when I add it in on a gig, it's just a simple fee. If I have to break it down and put it back up, it's another fee. But once it's up, it's a week. If I don't have a reason for schedule, they're welcome to it, and that's all worked out pretty good. I mean, being Santa and Mrs. Claus, there's a lot of Santas, and I totally respect and admire that. They only want it as a charitable giving, and they see it as a calling for what they do. Some take umbrage with charging, not everybody. And it's really kind of, my thinking is live and let live. We try to explain to the Santas that there's no set price or reason to charge, or you don't want to charge, you want to charge. You want to have all this hoopla, all these tchotchkes, they cost money. You're going to be out of pocket.
You want education, you want training, you want to be able to keep up with things, you want good looking costumes, you want to keep your hair dyed, keep your hair
I have
colored.
a professional
It
that
costs
does
a great
my
deal
hair
of money.
in season, who I love to death, but in between, like knowing you are coming and there's a possible July gig that might happen, we finally found a box coloring that looks okay. It's not as white as my friend will do, but it works. So
yes,
we've done that.
And it cost about a tenth of what the stylist costs.
And I unapologetically say, we profit very well as Santa and Mrs. Claus. Profit is not our motivation, but what we do, like anybody in business reasonably should, is to stay in business, is to be able to support it. You're going to have to replace almost anything at any given time. You're going to have all kinds of, if you're not prepared, extra pair of boots, extra couple of suits, unfortunately one chair if this goes down, but
and a vehicle.
Yes.
And a vehicle.
Right.
And I was driving an F-150 in the beginning, so I tried to park where they didn't see Santa get out of a pickup. But it's what Christmas does for us is a tremendous heart, a tremendous emotion, and bit of joy.
Yeah.
I don't think she'll kick me out as long as I stay Santa. No, I mean it just adds a greater admiration for each other about what you do and what you see each other do and what it brings out. And then when you're retired like we are, and your income, I never like the word fixed income. You have an income. It is what it is. And you're comfortable. That's great. And you get to do this wonderful thing. That's great. And then it affords you a kindness that makes you go, I can go on a vacation.
I can go see my grandchildren across the country. I can afford this except car. When the house hears you say that.
Oh yeah, you never.
And then your air conditioner unit goes on.
We blew it already. Yeah, you never open your wallet up near your car, your house, and say, I got a few extra dollars.
But got to talk about this. Speaking of the maker Claus, because he is. We've got props that so much of the rest of the Santa world would really love to do. The guys all want me to make shirts for them, to make clothes for them, and I only sew for people I said who I'm either biologically connected to or by marriage. I am coming around to finally deciding to make these for others. Maybe. Yeah.
Maybe. It isn't that it's difficult. It's really easy. It's again, shipping and its size. I've come up with a couple of solutions. I've got a very, I'm surprised he was kind enough to agree, fantastic photographer who said he would help me take a straight-on photo of this without the hands, so that it could be used as a clock face.
Yeah.
And from there it can be simplified or modularized, I said my word, to ship in a box simpler and quicker. But what happened was,
months of the year.
there's a toy store in Canada, starts with a B. I won't think of
Doesn't
it.
matter.
Bromide. No. There was a photo of, I'm attesting it to them because I'm not sure where the photo comes, 1930s picture. And there's this 10-foot clock. And all these people that are grown adults, but because of scale, they look like little elves making toys. And it's basically this January through December, and hands that denote the month. And that's what inspired me. I was thinking, I gotta make a clock. And we finished this Murphy bed, and we knew we were going to turn it into a backdrop for Santa. And I knew this width, and I thought, that's perfect. That's a 30-inch clock. And what comes together is there's companies that do lettering, and so that was done for us.
They did the letters. We still had to apply them all and get them all perfectly level and straight. That took us a few days to do that.
We didn't think that through, because they said $35 for the letters, $75 something to put it on a sheet already laid out.
Pre-format.
So we said, no, we'll save money. It would have been worth it, because we did everything to get these, fit.
Yes.
What happens with the clock is the large hand denotes the days, but it never moves. This hand moves
Counts down the months,
but it's physically moved. It's not an actual clock.
Okay. That's what we call it. It's digital. This is my digit. It moves.
and when it gets to, oh, look what you did.
Oh, it's okay.
This is Claus. So when it gets up to December, then the big hand counts the days down 1 through 24, Christmas Eve. Now, I did put the numbers and spots for an actual working clock, which I need to change the battery for in the middle. It's actually ticking. Okay, but it's not moving. And what in the course of it, this is just, woodworking. This is a material that sometimes they call twin wall. It's
used for yard signs a lot.
Yard signs and stuff.
Yeah.
It's a laminated kind of plastic with holes down through it, but it's white. Behind this originally was going to be a
rope light
to light it up. But because the back, which I didn't think mattered, is octagonal, and even if I do have the lights in a circle, it flashes an octagonal glow through, so I couldn't use that. The gear, a dear client of mine, in rebuilding her cabin in Bonita, I wandered the field on breaks and look around. I found some oil equipment. Wherever, I don't know what this thing was, but they had a stack of these about that big. And I called her up and I said,
rusty old
gears. I don't know how they interacted.
Yep.
And I said, Sue, can I have one of these? She would have all you want. So we got a few on the back gate. But when I saw it, because of the big clock I saw, they had it kind of steampunky looking kind of thing. So I thought, well, we'll put that in there. We'll epoxy marbles in the middle. But what the story is I told you, that's mistletoe. And when the aurora borealis drops to Earth, it'll hit a snowbank. And as it goes into the snow, there's sometimes still substance left to the aurora. And they roll down the bank and form these little power nodules. And we run everything at the North Pole off mistletoe. And they come in so many different varieties of colors. So that's the thing on it. It isn't difficult, but it's been one of the most appreciated. Mrs. Claus says, you want everybody to have your clock. I'm gonna change it up. There's a lot of
it's another one of our signatures.
Yeah.
Yes.
There's a lot of Santas that are like that. When I found the snowballs, and it was a big deal, and I was able to wholesale buy hundreds and hundreds of snowballs to have. the Santa I shared with was like I said about the Gollum, my precious, we can't share this with anybody. They're ours alone. I said, what? He goes, when we sell them to them, then we can get $1.50 a snowball. Well, it only costed me 35 cents. And I'm like, no, I'm charging, whatever it was, 75 cents. Yeah. He goes, well, we can get more. And I said, don't worry about it. But then Walmart sells those snowballs. Anybody can buy them. Come holiday, packs of 36 or smaller.
Now everybody gets their own.
They can get, and they work out approximately $1 a snowball. We'll buy them ourselves to have to give.
Every once in a while.
The company that originally created these was in New Mexico, and they couldn't sell them anymore because they sold to an outfit that by the time I got to that party, they sold to Walmart. And I did get Walmart to be nice and put me on as a buyer, and didn't make me buy 1,000 gross snowballs, boxes of. They sold us 360. I wasn't that many because we bought those.
Yeah, we did have a few years though to where we had a tower of cartons of snowballs here in the bedroom for a couple of months before Christmas.
Cool. But I like that, whether it's this clock or whether it's the snowballs. I understand the need in industry, no matter what it is, to be exclusionary. But I am the kind of person of raising all boats. If there's something I do, it's not a secret. The plans on Facebook aren't shown on my Facebook page for this throne, but the knock-apart Santa throne, there's enough pictures that there's no reason any good carpenter couldn't build it. And I'm okay with that. I am not, I might copyright our story that we wrote and want to protect that, but I kind of find that's just great. If I sell them, if I build them. Recently talking with a Santa who has finished a long education in marketing and building and in furniture industry, talks about he wants to make my throne. He's got a couple of others he wants because he feels there's a big thing in the industry, and asked me what I needed, and a one-time small thing and a small thing for everyone you ever sell. Let me keep selling the plans and keep my title, knock-apart throne on that and my name. Add yours if you change it. I don't care. I mean, my ego is it'll get out there, and that's all it is. This thing here, it'll change up. It'll look a little different when I get done with it. I'm pretty sure. Because I also know the same photographer has 3 3D printers. And I'm like, how can I, he's been too nice. But I could see this segmented and put together Lego-like idea.
Snap it together.
Just snap. Because the biggest thing you do is, as simple as this is, as I think upholstery is, and I'm told it's not, not everybody has the tools. They have the skill. They don't believe it, but they do. I mean, I taught for 3 years. I was lucky enough to teach stagecraft at the junior college where Jocelyn lived, and
I worked there. But it may have felt like living sometimes, but
I would get all this. I can't do that, and it is easier than you think. It just takes patience. Don't pick on yourself. If it could have been done better, great. Next time, do better. If somebody picks it apart, ask them, did you do one? And otherwise, it's not hard. It isn't hard to build. I've had a number of guys on the Facebook page post their building. A couple of them are like, I'm like, okay, you happy? Yeah, okay. But they made a chair. And it functioned and it worked great, and there's no criticism justified there at all. And another couple that have built theirs, and it just knocked my socks off. Wow, you guys did crazy good on building this. So it's really appreciated. I either sell this clock by me, or I would like to think I could sell plans to help somebody make it their own. It's still the same thing. How many are skilled enough or will tackle that. But yeah, I told the kids in stagecraft that you know more than you think. My only job is not to teach you how to be a good set designer, set builder. My job is to teach you how to not put your finger in the table saw or the miter saw,
But not be scared of learning how to use it.
Yeah. I'm going to tell you stories about people who have not done what they should, who've done bad. And some you won't believe, but they happen. I won't lie to you there. But don't let that keep you away from the machine. But that's just it. Everybody's kind of, there's not a tool I haven't done something stupid on.
Well, you learn from your mistakes, right?
Oh, yeah. And when I turn my table saw on, I swear to this day, I still hear, "Hi, Bob. No, I'm hungry." No, you're not.
That's what we realized. I realized very early on that I will never. That's why our vehicles are parked in the driveway always. The kids know where we live because we don't have a garage. We have a workshop where he built all of these things.
Well, and the rule now is I can't go out and build anything after October.
Right.
Because
He'll injure himself.
I've oversprayed red paint and colored my beard and hair.
That's not good.
Or he just dings right in the middle of his forehead and he has a bruise there right before a photo shoot. He's got to keep the moneymaker looking good in season.
But no matter how simple a thing you think you're doing, it's really, you're going to do something dumb. But yeah, with the kids, that's the biggest thing is I had to do a sudden quick course during summer when school was out to help a student who was going out of state and didn't have that credit hour or whatever. And very typical young woman. If she weighed over 100 pounds, I'd be surprised. But 19, 20, and we're out at their old warehouse where I was at that time with all the equipment, and we're going through the second year course and a little more building, a little more stuff, and teaching her mostly, like I say, the equipment. I get a phone call, and the gentleman identifies himself as her dad, and basically saying, "My daughter gets hurt. I'm going to find you." On and on. I said, "Dude."
Liam Neeson on you.
Oh, he went, yeah. I'll find a particular set of skill sets that'll get you. But I said, "Dude, don't you want your daughter to be independent and strong?" And he was like, "Yeah." I said, "I've taught my daughter to change a flat. I've given my daughter as much information as I can to not need a boy unless she wants the boy to help her." And I said, "What your daughter's learning here are real skills. She gets a place of her own. She's going to want to hang a picture. She's want to build a cabinet, want to make shelving. This is the beginning of that. She won't get hurt." And he's basically, she better not. Well, the fun thing for me with her was there's a nail gun most don't know, called a 16 penny nailer. It's the biggest of the guns. Back in that day, it was the one I had was really big. It weighed 17 pounds. Shoots a 3 1/4 to a 4-inch nail. I just had a chunk of railroad tie on sawhorses, and I said, "All I want you to do is know the difference between rapid and single fire. If you push down the plunger nose, pull the trigger, it'll fire one nail. If you pull the trigger and bounce it, it'll shoot every time it bounces." It was just a beautiful thing. I'm looking at her and she's shaking just a little bit, and she goes, "Thump." And I said, "Yeah, now try rapid fire." And then she's like, "Brrr." I swear it must have lifted her feet off the floor. Brrr. And she grabs the gun and kind of, oh. I said, "Don't tell your dad." But it was just, she shared with me, and I think it's what it was. The veil of maleness has to be removed. it means nothing. It's female, male, it's human. Everybody can do what everybody can do. If I'm Schwarzenegger, you can't lift my weights. Great, but you can work out. There's no limit to anything you can do that you want to do, other than what you're truly limited to do. And even then, we're all amazed that handicaps aren't handicaps. Limitations aren't limitations. So
You find ways to adapt.
you find ways to adapt, and as long as you have somebody who's sitting there going, "Yeah, I know it hurt, but we can pull that out, and you can keep going." But she was mortified when I told her dad called, and I said, "Your dad loves you, and just let me know if there's ever a reason I need at least a heads up." But that's in all of this. I wished I'm not the kind of guy that does a YouTube. That's like showing up every day for a job. You got to turn one out every. I've put a few of my YouTube videos are out there, and I still will do a few, but I don't have patrons. It's just for fun, and then I don't know why Jocelyn. Same thing with you. I mean, there are some aspects of sewing and being a seamstress, but there are beginnings to carry somebody through. But we know some Santas that share that they've bought them a sewing machine.
Yeah.
They got in there and they tackled it. I would be a great seamstress, but for you.
But that's kind of the joy, though, of this being, a post-retirement thing, that you can adjust when you need to adjust. I'm like, oh, okay, no, I can't sew today. It's too cloudy outside. I can't get enough light to see what I'm doing. I've got to change 15 pair of glasses to find the ones that I need to get that thread through that needle to do it. And your hands start getting arthritic. It happens. So it's not anything that is, I don't have to make things that are that time sensitive. And I can make, it's like him in the shop with these, I can make what I want to make. I'm not going to make that standard Coca-Cola suit that we can get off the rack. I will save my talents for the really fancy custom stuff, and I'm going to do it once. Not going to do it 2 or 3 times. It's just, we'll do it, and where we can really enjoy doing it and not feel like it's that, I got to go do this every single day.
You might get a phone call later in the evening that says,
right.
I know I told you to do a red velvet, but can you change it to green?
Yeah.
But
Speaking of green, that seems to be becoming more popular. For Santas.
A lot are. It's a great color. I mean, with the Botanic Gardens, Botanic Saint Nick, with the green robe, Jocelyn made that for them, and it was
kind of a Father Christmas looking thing with the white collar with the white down the front, and then just that deep green velveteen. Really very pretty.
And it got adjusted a year or so after that quite quickly because I don't know how to walk in a dress, and going upstairs where the whole robe is practically to the ground. So I'm going. So it got changed.
You just split it down the front from the waist and wear pants underneath it so that he can walk easier and to get up those stairs. And he's still going up those stairs was not the easiest thing in the world.
I could still fascinate people doing my little whirling dervish spin with the thing. But the green there, where kids would ask me, if you're Santa Claus, I said, Botanic Saint Nick right now. And I said, but you're green. And I said, I know, I don't ripen until Christmas and turn red.
Like a tomato.
I'm like a tomato. But the green, Santa Blair, he did costumes. He did Santa outfits that were like
team colors.
Team colors, team styles.
Yeah.
He used gold and black a lot, which I'm like, I really like. The biggest damage done by Santas is thinking they can look like that. It truly belongs to who you might see. There's a Santa movie with Goldie Hawn and
Kurt Russell.
And Kurt Russell,
He's in leather. He looks really fine.
He's got a long coat. He looks great. But you get these butterballs like me. There's a lovely seamstress who used to be in Texas that moved northwest. Still does her outfits. Inundated with requests, and it's a plethora. It's not
pleather.
Pleather.
Yeah.
Some might be a real leather, but mostly it's that. And then you see the guy proud in it. It's okay. That makes you happy. That's good. But they're quite bulbous, quite shaped. I see Blair's outfits, and I love them, and I'm like, okay.
But they're for very special, significant events. They're not for
Kwanzaa related, team related.
Yeah.
I have something
I think
here that
more like, yeah.
Yeah, but takes in his
Yeah.
what makes him who he is, which is absolutely beautiful. With us, I don't know if there wouldn't be another. That's upholstery fabric for the parade coat, which I found when we were in Texas. The year before, tornado destroyed it all. But looking through what they have, the color was great. It feels great, and you don't realize till you make it. There's not that much, and put it on. This is really heavy. But she was nice. She let me have my stars lining inside, so I can open it up.
Yep.
And be fancy, but. Yeah.
And you wear that mostly for parades or when you're outside, or
at some family events.
It takes a really special event, though, because it goes with that old world Santa. So if somebody really wants that look of that old world Santa, or we can talk them into doing it, it is something that's very different than just the everyday thing. Because truly, 99 times out of 100, if it's a corporate event, if it's a regular thing, they just want red. They want white toast. They want exactly what they expect. They don't really want surprises.
We took it to one of our families last year wearing like that, but I knew that I'd be all right to take it off. And then in taking it off, knowing how I put it on other people at other corporate events to wear, it became a thing with all the kids that they could put it
trying on Santa's
big coat.
Yeah.
And stuff. So if you can take it off, we've got some Home Builder Association gigs. A gig that it's the traditional suit. I could probably come in the parade coat and I look really great. But otherwise, what's underneath is it my words wrong? An Edwardian looking Victorian vest and pants. I've got a bajillion buttons going down the front, which I like. I have to embrace my prima donna,
the peacock in you.
I've always liked Hawaiian shirts. Been criticized by family that real men don't wear them. They're only men wear them most. But whether it's Hawaiian shirts or like this, what she did for me on this with the snowman, I've got a shirt made with a bunch of owls, which are cool, and she let me have the top button is a large round yellow smiley face.
What this fabric, I've forgotten I made this. I guess I made his, and I made one for my grandson, and for Christmas a shirt, and then a little dress for our granddaughter who had just been born. And I always have leftover scraps. Well, that was when COVID hit and everybody needed masks. And I started making all friends, loved ones, whoever needed them. This is the fabric I had on hand because you couldn't go to the fabric store. It was all shut down. So lots and lots of our friends and family have COVID masks with snowmen on them. Because I would say, I finally got some other fabric and I'd say, okay, do you want this stuff or do you want the Christmas one? And everyone was, I want the Christmassy one. It is so somber around here. Let me have something fun. We have that couple that did we talk? Yeah, I think we talked about his first thing. That was the paramedics.
Where's my?
That did that. She was working in the hospital. And she said, oh no, I have to have that mask. Oh, I have no idea where your mask is, honey.
One of our friends making masks made me a reindeer mask. So it's got a brown face Rudolph's round red nose, and I have antlers on it.
Well, it
So,
kind of come out the ears.
Because I
It's
thought,
odd.
if I had to go on a gig and wear a mask, that would be fitting.
Yep.
She did a lovely job, and and we still have it, and probably still use it occasionally if we
Yep.
want to goof off. But yeah, it just makes it a lot of fun. I mean, there's some steampunk ideas that I'd love to have, although I've probably exceeded my allotment of things made.
Looks, yeah. No, but it's the yeah.
Well, I want
And it's what you can do too with the what the customers want. There's always that fine line between what would you like to try out and what do your customers really want. And like you said, when it boils down to it, if you're going to a parade, if you're going to a big convention, a conference or something, we have lots of Clauses who do Ren fairs and things, so they're kind of just tweaking their costumes to turn into Ren fair. But the families that you see, they want what the kids have grown up on, those television cartoons, those images. That's the Santa they want, that they expect to see.
Well, the friends of ours that are professional drag queens do a charity every year to give bikes to children, and it's through a radio station. They do a marvelous job. I thought they might have gave 1,000 bikes away last.
Oh, I don't know what they did overall, but the group that we did, I think they raised 150 bikes. Yeah.
Oh, but do you remember the field?
Yes, that was the radio station.
Yeah,
right.
All the bikes.
Yeah, with more than that. Yeah.
But she asked us to be part of the event and all that, which we did. But she also said a little later, "Have you ever put on any glitter?" And I said, well, first let me say no. Sounds exciting, but no. Glitter is never just glitter. I said, and besides, I can't outshine you and the rest of you. I said, we'll just be Santa.
Yeah.
We'll be like the dull, boring spot of red or whatever. But it was a lot of fun. I hope they learn a little better. They had us on the back of a trailer with a bunch of bikes trying to cross the highway. They had no plans on how to get across. And I'm thinking, I've seen this in a movie where the guy goes over the cliff and he's screaming, holding on to the, but it worked out a lot of fun. And, whenever it's a charitable thing, you really want to, if you could make it, help them, if they can succeed at it. And I know they'd have us again anytime, but yeah, I've sworn off glitter.
We'll see what this year brings. Except sitting here looking at it, that fabric has glitter.
I don't.
But
it's
part of it. No, it doesn't come off.
I feel like my grandma, my dad's mom, she wore all those outfits that had glitter or little strands of gold through the
sequins.
Tops.
Yep.
And I feel like I'm channeling Sally. But now the other thing cute about this chair that I can tell you I'm experiencing now, I joke to people that I call this my Gilligan chair. Because a lot of them ask me, say, why isn't it poofier? Why isn't it softer? And I say, well, first off, the softer and poofier it is, the more drag and wear it'll get. And I said, this is very firm. It gives a little, so it's kind underneath, but it's a Gilligan chair. It's only intended for a 3-hour tour. After that, your bum's going to be sore. You may regret it. You can put a pillow in it or something to cushion you. But I think I've reached my 3rd hour.
I think you have.
But no, it's but yeah, it's just a lot of you just never know what you're going to get called for, who's going to want what, and then.
Well, do you want to switch places for that? Yeah. For the last little bit.
Can I go to the restroom real quick?
Sure. If it's Bud's
Yeah.
tired.
No, I'll let you have that.
No, we can both take a break. Okay, all right.
You want a little water?
Okay.
All
So
right.
I get to be in the chair now.
Yes, you do.
Because we only have one chair now, because as wonderful as this chair is, you can't really transport 2 of these around, and nobody's party is big enough that you can have both 2 chairs like this around. So I do take my turn in it on occasion, but that was the downside of me becoming Mrs. Claus a few years after he was already doing Santa, I could not do it with working full time. Some people do, and I just don't know how they do it, but I could not. So by the time I joined him, we really had to work me in because he already had a very solid client base established.
And they were used to my other squeeze. No. Yeah, so it trying to integrate in.
Yeah.
Well, do you do contracts with people, or they just call and say, "Can you
Well,
come?"
they call. Yeah, we use.
No, we do contracts.
We do
schedule very early.
We like right now we've penciled in. We have quite a few penciled in now. And in September, we'll reconnect and send double check, make everything still good, and we'll send out
performance agreements. Yeah.
And there's a retainer fee that is expected. The bad thing about Santa is you have a limited number of dates, and if somebody cancels, you can't just change it. If you can, that's great, and you can refund to somebody whatever that you've asked them to pay in advance. But mostly, they understand that this is to get that date or to get that time, which and then we send it to them either. A few we've done via mail, but it's PayPal kind of thing, and there's all kinds of stuff out there to collect for, and then we let them know that if they haven't paid through the same way prior to finish, just have the final check in a Christmas card envelope or something, and hand it to us as we go out. Don't make a thing about any of that. We stay in character so they won't succeed anyway. But yeah, contracts are quite important. We also have, we pay for a liability policy. And in the beginning, I didn't understand, but Santa is an attractive nuisance. If there's an injury to a child, we certainly don't want, if we're responsible, we want to make sure that it's taken
if they've tripped over that giant boot sticking out, or they stumble up, and split their chin open on the side of that.
And the benefit of the international organization, OOHRP, they offer, so you can have a
annual background check done, right?
Several $1 million of protection. Hopefully you don't ever get sued. Hopefully it's not some frivolous, exaggerated, weird thing.
Which people holler about all the time, but it really just doesn't happen.
Hands where your hands are.
Yeah. We stay aware. We stay aware of that. Yeah.
We call
Santa always wears white gloves.
I call this Keanu Reeves' hands, because in all of his pictures, his hands are seen.
Yeah.
And as a Santa, I don't think the few that get in trouble, I think there's a reason for why they got in trouble. There are reasons your hands aren't seen. Holding a baby, too many people, you can't just stick them in the air, and that's all you can do. And you wear gloves, so it's kind of obvious. When I do photos where I've got a couple and they're willing to let me be ornery and hug either the gentleman or the woman and push away the other mate just for a little horseplay, but my hands will be seen then. But that's the liability that I guess you could get. And in this craft, unfortunately, the bad side of it is anytime there's children involved, there are going to be people of the wrong type that will gravitate to it for the opportunities. And in this coverage, you're protected against frivolous claims of such, which I still have seldom heard or seen anything come of that. But you have the protection. I don't see it as protecting me. Like I said, one of our photo shoots early on was using our shed in the back like Santa's cabin. And a young girl who was apprehensive about being around me, and I wasn't sure how to let her go, kind of took off. We've got hardscape around all that. There, she could have so easily hurt herself on the little retaining walls, on the concrete, on the path. You know, they might trip over your big Santa feet while you're in the chair. you just want to make sure the parents know, hey, take care of this. This is good. But we've never had. We've been hurt more than the children have.
Yeah.
but
And usually that just means that the day after Christmas, all those defenses go down, and we both, one of the two of us, comes down with a bad cold. Yes, it's just all the germs you pick up during
I
season.
can imagine.
the little
Yeah.
Petri dishes
Yeah.
or something, you know.
But out of 10, 11 seasons for you now, 10 or 11 seasons now, and then 7 for me, we have had only one instance where he actually had to cancel 2 nights because he had the flu and was running such a fever.
I feared I caught
And it was
COVID.
the flu that, but it wasn't
And,
COVID.
and there's a lot of Santas that were still going out, and I tried telling them, you don't want to be a vector to find that you got something. He goes, well, I know I'm healthy. You were till you met one of those 500 kids, and then you weren't. And I said, but most of us respected all of that. That's what I was telling you leading into it. The other thing about Santa has a limited life, depending on when we have Santas that started in their 20s and 30s, 60s and 70s. That's tremendous, great. Most Santas, like myself, start in their late 50s, 60s.
Yeah.
So you find yourself coming to a point like we're not quitting, but we have to recognize, you have these end of life plans for your house, for your belongings, to help family understand, to settle disputes before they happen, to do the responsible thing. I've been working difficultly through the thoughts of how to have one for my wood shop and my tools. There's nobody around anymore that does the woodworking like I do. They're scattered. There's no union hall like I used to belong to. Apprentices, I give 90% of my stuff away that I don't use if I knew somebody could make use of it and was young enough. Odds are it's all going to sell at a garage sale for what I told her I paid, which is never the truth.
It's one of his battle
But that's one of my
stories.
little things. But then it occurred to me with Santa, I'm 71. I'm in pretty good health, junky, working on that. But I figure, I know we have Santas older, and I think at 75, I'm wondering, will I still want to do this? And in the process of that, there's all these things to figure out. What do you do with your web page, your name, identity that's out there? Are these things you pass on, sell on? Outfits, are they still in good stead that you can give them to somebody? Does family, is there anyone? I'd love it if my son would like to follow my footsteps, but he'd have to have some learning. But he's turning gray, so he would fit. But you start looking at that and you're just wondering, how long can you keep doing? And mostly you have to, what's the word, not intern, when you coax somebody along.
Oh, apprentice someone.
No,
Yeah.
well, what we talk about, when you take a chance to take someone under your wing,
Yeah.
and then just start
Mentoring somebody along.
mentoring somebody to move stuff along like that. If I keep up like one of our Santas, I'll be well down my 80s doing this. I'm gonna have a driver.
Yeah.
And
It's and then but it does become tricky because even with that, then you start worrying more and more about their health. And can you guarantee that you're available for those days? Because, just the likelihood that you're going to get sick. And it's a very tricky thing because we do have Santas we know who are just, they're getting really fragile. And the photographers that they work with know it. And so they know that there are only so many expectations that you have. But then from the other side, you've got the families who don't care.
They don't want to
Their
let you go.
generations of that family have been to see that Santa at that location. So it's it's maybe not a bad thing that yes, you've got regular customers, but not really so much the absolute fixture at any one place to where if it was somebody else, it would be, just a horrific shock.
And it's not like you didn't know, but you aren't Santa Claus. You're not going to live forever.
Yeah.
I lost a dear friend in January or New Year's Eve, who shouldn't have passed away. We do. It got me to thinking, myself, my health. I have all the typical ailments a chubby old man would have. And I've made changes recently in medications, and I don't want to sell anything to anybody. But if I'm to continue to believe the direction I'm going, I might not make Christmas this big. I'll probably have to go hipster, or something else. But that's
I'll have to take some darts in those costumes this year.
That'll be my health, because I want to hang around as long as I can. So there's compromise, because I know some Santas think they don't ever want to get small. And I don't think Santa needs to be healthy like some argue. He needs to be healthier. So in my case, this is already too big. I'm like, okay, I don't, but that's okay. It's needed. So you've got to take responsibility to educate your customers as to the reality of your future with them and what you'll do to protect them or guide them elsewhere.
Kind of gently set up in advance your retirement and succession plan. Yeah.
And to me, this is a small part sideways, but I always like the idea that I will live forever. Long, long after I'm gone, a child, now a mommy or a grandma, will share to a grandchild or their child a photo of them sitting on my knee, smiling, and I'll have the opportunity to put a smile on another child's face. I like that I know it's there. I know it's in the future. We're in a different day and time. It's not going to be so much in the albums of photos like Grandma and Grandpa has. It'll probably be somewhere in function. Somebody kept it. But it's nice to know that Mrs. Claus and Santa, they don't need to know us. But we're going to
know us.
They know us.
Yeah. And their grandchildren will look and know exactly, that's Mr. and Mrs. Claus. Yeah.
It's not, as long as it's not the Santa I was told about the other day and sent, who got in trouble with the law. One of the other Santas. Do I share this with the group? I don't remember what he did, but it wasn't particularly good. It really wasn't good. And he looks like I do. Do they say, Mr. Jones was a culprit and Santa Claus was the culprit?
Yeah.
So it's like, you'll be remembered as long as you have this. But I like I told him, I said, put it if you like, but we're all doomed. Anything we do, we're going to be. Everybody gets judged by their appearance, and culturally, physically, it doesn't matter. But yeah, with what we're doing, we're getting into the prime of what we're doing, but we're like, this is a lot of work.
5 more years, 10 tops.
Mm-hmm.
I'm holding on to David in his 80s, saying, I can do this. But I don't think David is a beautiful Santa, and he does a museum Santa that he's done for many years. They have finally started bringing in another with him. Yeah, because he's...
But the little things, it's just that I don't think most people understand are really, even if you're just sitting in this chair, the physical demands of being up, have a nutritious breakfast, hydrate yourself, because you're going to be sitting in a throne,
lots of lights,
8 hours that day under hot lights, sweating like a dog underneath. And if you keep drinking the amount of water you're supposed to be drinking, you're going to have to take a break every hour, which they don't allow you in these places. They don't realize that there are some different needs that an aging person is going to have. That a 30-year-old, sure, they've got,
Well,
they can shut it down.
and you're not like,
But it's
like-
but it can create unhealthy situations for somebody who is in their 70s if they are not able to do that. So there are physical demands, that they know.
sometimes your judgment on what you should do gets shaded by age. Like I said, Christmas Eve, in between trips, long distances, do I go into the little the little convenience store, or do I pull off the side of the road? Which is worse to be caught doing? And you gotta, and then your judgment says, well, I can just do this. No, you can't. But there's a lot of stories for sure about ambulances being called for Santas at malls that have passed out, who are dehydrated, who aren't allowed water on the set, who aren't allowed but particular breaks to go. It's getting a little bit better for them, and it's mostly contractual, so they either get the gig and claim what they need and they agree, or in our case, I had one year in the summer where a doctor had changed medications for me. Simple little thing, no big deal, Bob. Oh man, I couldn't drink water without leaving. It was like, and after a while I called him and said, I can't take this and be in season. I'm 10 minutes every time I have to run to the boys' room. And, we'll just take it off. Was it important? Well, I just thought it'd be, don't give me anything like that, and it's, but yeah, I'm very happy thinking right now that the changes that I've made, a lot of heavy men are diabetic, and that's a given thing for weight. And I'm taking care of that. It's finally looking great, and things are going to change. So I figure I'll hang on. My friend Frank that passed away was healthy, looked well. Things like when you lose somebody, it makes you go, well, that's a bunch of crap. Because he swore, we had an agreement, whoever dies first gets the other's tools. But I have too many, I want his, and he knew I was going first. He said, yeah, you're going to be out there driving to some Santa gig and drive off the road looking at a map. But yeah, life surprises everybody. But
it's funny though, I think that's may have been one of the biggest surprises for it. The children are all going to go crazy over you, but to a person, our friends, our old work acquaintances, all of the extended family, everybody was just like, this is the coolest thing in the world. This is the most amazing, wonderful thing. They're all really proud, to have Santa. They're as big of kids about it as anyone is. Oh yeah, I want to come. Right? Yeah, Frank would come every year to this one store he was at, and he'd get his picture with him every year on his knee. They're
I'd give him a kiss in the cheek.
It's crazy. Yeah, it's just Santa. Well, it's just Santa does that. It's just a special relationship to every person in the world.
I really think the biggest.
Put it indoors what that
is.
So
Yeah.
And the biggest misconceptions about Santa and Mrs. Claus that we constantly struggle with is not an unfair misconception. When I became Santa, I thought I might be just a handful of those in Tulsa doing what I get to. Then we start the chapter, then the world blows up over the last 10. Everybody that thinks about having a Santa, and I can say to whoever's watching this, yes, he's a guy with a beard and a red suit, shows up, says, ho, 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 what do you want for Christmas? It is that simple. You can do it. But there's so much more involved in this that makes who the Santa is. And they know the Santa that they love the most. And it's because there's something more there. And the more there is, the Santa invests in what he's doing, how he's behaving, the stories he tells, there's just such a blossoming of more than. And the simple red suit from the local store is a beginning, but it's not that simple. And there's people that potentially will call and they'll ask our rate. My rate, we changed it this year the first time in 10. And when I made it 10 years ago, I thought, I'll never pay that. Everybody's happy. Christmas is a luxury, it's a specialty, and they want somebody really good. And that person who's going to do this needs to respect that and give them everything that they're getting.
Yeah.
But I'll get called and they'll go, I don't make that. Neither did I. I can guarantee you, when I was a carpenter, I changed my pricing, my charges to people from a bid, from a quote, to cost plus. I told them I will give you a copy of every receipt I have. That's all you're going to pay. And my hourly rate, and I'll tell you everyone else's hourly rate, and I'll account for the hours. And you will give me this percentage over, which was 15% or something on the project. Sometimes less because the project was crazy. And for the most part, everything was great. But I would get criticized over my hourly rate, that I was charging too much for my time. As Santa Claus, I make 4 times that. And nobody complains. I should have wore a red suit when I did my woodworking. I should have came in as Santa Claus. But people are.
But people also look at it and they say, I had one person that I worked with who was like, oh, you can make some really good money. And I think 4 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
It's not what you think it is.
Well,
it's like by the time then you go and you pay the taxes and you got your insurance and you've gotten the costumes updated and everything else. It's like
And gas.
and gasoline and everything. Yeah, you're lucky if you've got enough to take a trip to California.
We've stretched our season into
Yeah.
the beginning of November, trying to educate photographers that you need to do early. We're in competition with a lot of other things they're doing in November, but we've gotten quite a few that are successfully filling some of those dates in businesses. So it is a short season. Now, I'm not working, it's Thursday maybe, but definitely Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesdays are sometimes office or commercial.
It's closer to
And it's
Christmas,
closer.
those pickups.
Last year was kind of crazy. I have a fear this year because it's a short season, so we're missing a weekend. And it's going to
Based on when Thanksgiving falls, you have fewer weekends in between Thanksgiving and Christmas.
we know
So Thanksgiving falls pretty late in the month this year, so you've only got, it's shorter. These last 2 years, there's been 5 weekends between Thanksgiving and Christmas. It's been wonderful.
3 or 4.
Yeah.
But you've got corporate clients that are going to want at this period of the month.
Everybody
And
wants
then
this
you've got
particular
your regular
Saturday.
clients, and you see the conflict. We put out a newsletter 4 times a year. The one we just put out is basically going, ooh, you need to call us. Don't get, but and
And of course, the one person who did, we'd already booked that date with somebody else.
and that was
And,
actually a gig we really
Yeah.
want.
Yeah.
So, and that person that was already booked, I couldn't
Somebody
do
else we
last
really,
year.
really
The one
want.
whose father
Yeah.
I was replacing, a circumstance came up and I couldn't do it last year, and I didn't realize how much it upset her. And this, even though I got her as Santa, she was clearly upset and not mad, but I promised her I will never leave you. I will be here
We will
this
be
year.
there.
And in the
And she wants Mrs. Claus with them
Yeah.
too.
And
And that makes a difference. Yeah.
And the conflict this year with what a new thing we did
Yeah.
for a big deal is a similar date. Now I knew that she had said Thursday or Friday. So I thought
No,
maybe
Saturday.
it's Friday or Saturday. I thought I could fudge her. So I called, didn't get her, left a message. Never got a return call. All what I said was, is there any chance you could, but I made a promise. I said, I want you to understand, on top of all that, I made you a promise. I am not going to change that unless we can have a talk. I've tried 3 times. She's never returned my calls.
So we're booked for that date.
So we're booked for that day.
Yeah.
And I had to tell the other one, and it's okay.
That they will have to change a date, or they'll have to find another.
It's one of those ego things to get to do. If
Yes.
I'd been told I got to be in the parade for Tulsa, forget that. If my hometown of El Reno called me to do this, I'd do it free just to want to stick my tongue out at all the torment.
Except we can't do that because
Santa
that would
can't
throw
do
you
that?
out of 3 other jobs, because that's the
True.
go down and stay overnight and come
Yeah.
back, and that's always a Saturday. So
I'd have to hire a
that knocks
driver.
you out of something else.
Yeah, but there are those kind of events that come along, and you're like, you have to respect what got you here, and I would never change that for her. Yeah, and I've got a few others. We had what was the other? Oh, yeah, it's fun.
Yeah.
We've been regular for another parade that we have to step away from. But they were always so early. When you're 71 years old.
Yeah, those are things. Yeah, that yes, the parade doesn't start until 9, but you have to be there at 8, and it's in Owasso, so you've got to be up, dressed, and out the door by 7:30, and. You're 71 years old. Do I really want to be doing that?
And you're out in the
still?
field where you're
And
like,
you are. It's not like you just get up and throw on your clothes. You're Santa, you're Mrs. Claus. It's the full bore.
You're out in the street in
And
the
then you
field
wait
with no
and
shrubbery.
wait and wait. Yes.
And you have the persona going.
Yes.
too.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
Yes.
you can't go,
Yeah.
where's
Yeah.
Santa?
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
over here.
Yep.
But
But you get adventures you never imagined. You never get to have. So
I
that's
can guarantee
the
you
good part.
the biggest benefactor in the opposite, the biggest thing to benefit from us being Santa is this home. It's like no sooner than you finish a season and you're going, shh. You think it's listening?
Yes.
You're like,
We discussed that already.
yeah, you think,
Okay.
oh, we can do this.
Yeah.
And then it's like new roof.
We discussed that already.
We did.
Yes, we did.
The house is happy now.
Yes.
It's got everything it wants, right?
Well, how do you do self-care though? I mean, how do you unwind after doing your season?
I don't.
It usually we end up that was the tricky part, because I was really pretty crazy about Christmas, and since before we met for 30 years now, I have done a big Christmas caroling party where we just get together for an evening, friends, family, everyone, and we eat, we drink, and we sing Christmas carols. And
We might invite clients.
that
Come in.
very rarely,
Just one or two.
But with him starting this, I've had to really make that. One year he ended up having to work that night, and he came in and joined the party late, but really made that say, no, this is our holiday. Okay, you get him for a few hours on Christmas Eve. I deal with it with the grandchildren, and we, they're usually up here, and we'll get them, have fun and get
Have to
to
make a
eat dinner
blow.
early. But Christmas Day, we don't do anything Christmas Day.
No.
We don't do it. That is for family.
Well, the thing
And
about
then we usually, though, are visiting with our grandkids for a couple of days after that.
within the week.
Then we crash.
The thing about the season is when you start in and you look at your calendar, this is an every year thing. So I've had to just own and understand it's okay. There's all panic. There's chaos. Oh my gosh, look what we've done. But it just happens, and you go through it. And then in the last, for me, Christmas Eve and come home, it is a bit of a hard decompression.
Yeah.
Because everybody loves you, everybody wants you, go away. At the end. And you still get, there are dates that some of the Santas have talked about that they do after Christmas, either because of, is it German?
Certain cultural traditions.
Certain cultural traditions.
You celebrate on New Year's Day. You celebrate on Orthodox, which may be, I think, January 15th is the latest that some people actually celebrate. That's when they do their gifts or their Santa, whatever their celebration is. So,
but it is a bit of a. It's not like a real downer and depressing, but there is kind of a come down for it all. And as much as you're relieved, you really kind of is it ego? Miss that sparkle,
Yeah.
that focus of everybody on the thing. But the biggest fear really after holiday is, and it always seems to be, that your body manages to hold up. Literally,
you get the stress hormones kick in and keep that.
And then the day after, you've got the cold, you've got the flu. Like I say, year before last, at the gardens, I thought I caught COVID and went to the doc. It wasn't COVID, and I miraculously fit and okay to go back out in 2 days. I missed 2 events, but that. When I could go back became the week before Christmas, where it was just ridiculous.
The city
cold.
pretty well closed down because the temperatures plummeted to single digits for like 3 days.
Fortunately,
and no one was going out.
And unfortunately, they closed those dates, but I didn't think they were.
Yep.
And my fear was the parents will still bring their children out in this,
Yep.
and it's just crazy cold.
Yep.
But yeah, that surprised me on that. I had one year where I love it. We're in a auditorium for a park in West Tulsa, and a little girl coming up the steps. Jocelyn's telling him, a few of them were coughing, coughing your arm or all this, coughing, and this little girl over there coughs, and the lights that are there, you can just see all this spray go out. And I said, sweetie, when we cough, I want to put her hand up like this and cough in her hand, okay? She goes, yeah. So she's on my lap. I go to the picture, and she turns and looks right at me and goes, ah! Her fingers are all spread. And I'm like, yep, that's the one that got me. I'm a dead man. But yeah, you do everything. You take, well, you did, I don't think I took vitamins last year, but you take anything you think might fortify. And like you say, you drink water. You don't, you watch a little bit of what you're eating. Don't try to eat anything too bad for your system to cause.
Just try to keep some nutrition. Yeah.
Try to keep nutrition going, and you don't work in the shop because I bruise and I'll spot.
But then he knows it's happy time because it's January and he can go back out in the shop. And when it's funny that talking about that, because there are many. Especially the Mrs. Clauses that I know across the country, who keep their tree up or multiple trees up year round.
We don't keep
they are Christmas up year round. I mean, we have quite enough here with this, and even this goes down sometimes. But I've always been one, and I think that's what maybe helps that decompression just a little bit, is that I really like to give each season its due. So the decorations change. You start watching for the daffodils to come up in the garden. You start there are all these other things you do in January. So, because if it's Christmas all year long, there is no Christmas. Because Christmas is so wonderful because it is so finite. That you can do these indulgences because you're not going to be doing them all year round.
Some that have the tree all year round, it's singular to the tree. Sometimes they do all over the house.
Yep.
We don't do the tree, but we do have enough Christmas through the house regardless, even if it is up to the Mardi Gras mask and stuff being put up.
Oh, yeah. In January. Right. Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, no, but I'm talking about the people who keep their tree up year round. They just have artificial trees and they keep them year round. And I'm sitting here going, how do you clean the house
Well, it makes me wonder
with
whether
the
or not
dusty tree?
spiders. We had one Christmas. I mean, I have no witnesses, so I can't prove it.
I was there.
Not in the room to see it.
Yes.
You saw?
Yes.
What was its name in Harry Potter?
Aragog.
Aragog. But there was a spider in the top of the tree, but its shadow cast on the ceiling was palm size,
Huge.
and then it disappeared. And when I don't think
He's up there on the ladder looking and looking and looking. He can't find it anywhere. And yeah, he finally after days, we see it again, and it gets up there and in the little bitty light. Yeah, when it's on the light itself, yeah, it was this pinhead, but that's a lot of light projected around.
I know
that.
in that moment, if that spider had any awareness, he'd be like, cojones grande, mo. But yeah, we never really, but there's not Harry Potter, but Lord of the Rings, when Sam comes up the staircase to scare the guys
The
up
orcs.
the orcs, his shadows cast, so he looks like he's something huge.
Way bigger. Yeah.
But yeah.
Yes, for those kind of geeks too.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's okay. I know Harry Potter.
we quote Harry Potter lines when we're whooping each other in cards or
And Lord of the Rings.
and Lord of the Rings.
Yep.
Lord of the Rings. I made a gate for the paramedics' garden that was a round rough cedar gate looking, because she was a Lord of the Rings character, and it's got the whole radius doesn't open, but the door opens in the middle to go into where she has her chickens in her garden. And I had morphed in the picture of all the except they had done it Lego style, all the characters that stood out in front of
the Black Gate.
yelling,
Let the Lord of the
land come out
Lord.
and justice be done upon you. And I put that in the bottom of the picture to her garden, but I used the garden thing. She's a geek too, but it went over. I thought it was one of my proud days. They look, they're going to storm your garden and take your vegetables. But yeah, it's all fun. So how's your 3-hour tour doing? No.
I want to check real quick.
Go right ahead.
Yes.
Your motto. You need to tell us what your motto is on tape. You said it before we rolled about leave no trace.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that's one of them.
Yeah,
Yes.
The one lately is leave no trace, but if you do, leave only crumbs. And then
Our regular sign off is always have a sentacular day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
And how do you enter a room? Do you enter a particular way?
it depends. Sometimes it's yelling ho ho ho. I have bells that I'll shake a little bit.
Merry Christmas. Yep.
And,
Well, use your voice for me. And
Oh,
say,
me?
Oh, well, you want to do the call and response?
well, usually we'll
Okay.
I'll come in and I'm like, ho ho ho, Merry Christmas. I say Merry, you say Christmas, and I'll have them yell.
Yeah.
And then she'll go.
I say jingle, you say bells.
And we get them through that.
We often come in singing if there's a big group. If it's a household, we might do that more. If it's a big group, we'll usually come in singing, Santa Claus is coming to town, or jingle bells, something like that.
And
As we come in.
I've come in one place where I went in and just walked in. I hadn't any attention, and they all looked at me. Did you want a Santa? Ho ho ho! And they're all, I was just joking. But yeah, it's getting the attention. Either that, or we come in. Here comes Santa Claus. Comes Santa Claus, and we're shaking. Now the bells have kind of fallen back. As loud and beautiful as they are, we've had to come to understanding that there are a lot of children that it's
And
bad enough
adults.
seeing big old Santa
Yeah.
and Mrs. Claus, but the noise is a little bit too much. We'll have them with us, and if there's a child that wants to play with them, then they can. But you can't wear those and sneak in and get a snack. There's hang those on the refrigerator. That'll keep them away. but yeah, we come in yelling ho ho ho, come in singing a song. Who ordered a pizza? You know, it's whatever it might be. Mostly the idea is the parents will want us to sneak around back, load up a bag of toys.
That's you.
Well,
yeah,
that's me.
mostly. Yeah.
Or not advertise and then come in the door and just have them turn and surprise them. The one thing we've learned to do or tried to do when we knew we had to is if there's gifts to be given, ask them to wait and say, I'll tell you when you can open them. We'll do like a countdown and say, so the gifts are all amongst you. Is it time to open the gifts? Which is usually when we want to leave. And they'll say, yeah, well, get your gift. Don't open it. You know, we're going to start the countdown. And then we'll do the 10, 9, 8, and we'll mess it up. 3, 2 3/4. And you say, ready? 2. And then we're out the door on 1 as they're frantic. Then they're not chasing us to the door wanting to see the reindeer.
Yeah.
Or
well, and that's our other deal too, is that everybody asks, and it's one of the big early Santa Claus discussions, is why do you drive a car? I want to go see your reindeer. And our deal is that
it's not Christmas Eve.
Air traffic control will not allow the reindeer to go over cities.
Into any individual house.
To any individual house, anything like that, except on Christmas Eve.
So
And that's late at night, and they clear all the trackways. So they allow us. We can go to the airport, and they've got a special hangar where they take care of the reindeer there, and then we have a special Uber that we schedule, and we bring it to the house.
So, now, if you ever see my Uber, others have it, and you might see me in. It says Toy Maker on the back because they want to make sure it's special for me.
Yes.
And but I told somebody the other day, that lady that called us out said, yeah, it is a cute tag, but I never know if they're honking because they think they see Santa or they're mad at me.
Yeah.
but yeah, you try to tell them that we had to have an Uber or we have a driver. We've joked about. I've heard of others that say that they do have a driver. They dress as an elf. One says it's like a security guard elf. They just stand at the door.
Yep.
Santa, and stuff. But yeah, it's. I make it clear to all the gigs. I do not book so that I have to leave when the time is up. As long as there's a child, as long as I do want to leave, even though you've maybe had me there an hour. If it's 45 minutes in and the kids are all off and gone, you need to understand I need to go. If they come back wondering where I went, that's part of the mystique that's needed. I'm not trying to get out of your gig. Usually there's none of that.
But when Santa becomes just another adult in the room,
Or a babysitter.
and they're occupied with other things, Santa needs to be out of there. Yeah.
It's and then when people, I love it when they come up and go, that suit must have cost you some money, the adults.
Yeah.
Oh, no, Mrs. Claus made this for me. Well, where did you get it? At the North Pole. And then you'll finally get the person, one of her dear friends pulled that on us at the college for the
not a dear
symphony
friend.
exam. Acquaintance.
Oh, acquaintance. Yes. Yeah.
And she comes up calling her out on her outfit and her looks, and she keeps trying to stay in character. And then she finally, her eyes go pink. Oh, there are kids here, but it's fun. It doesn't get too far. It doesn't go too weird, but it's fun. It's really fun when you see their eyes pop open like Muppets when they're aware of what they. Oh.
Yeah.
I've had one at a gig. Bob. Who are you talking to? Santa. It's like, okay, just and most, I think, of our group, we have 4 meetings a year. We try to accomplish things. They really turn into go somewhere to eat food and jabber, tell stories.
But a lot of that, I've realized too, because not every place in the country has one of those. So even when it is just jabber, we're sharing a lot of information about what's going on, about difficulties we're having, about challenges, about the other people in the group. Are they doing okay? And so I realized that somebody at one of our trainings did something. You said like, oh, schedule this once a year to where you all get together and do all of this, where you're sharing all these resources. And I was like, why would we do that? And then I realized he's not in a place where he lives that they meet 4 times a year. They only meet once in an absolute blue moon. So when you do, because you start having those meetings, and then you have also half a dozen other people who live locally that that you can call and talk things through and work things out.
The only thing that's sad with the group that we can't seem to rectify well, we lost a Santa a week ago, passed away. And then through COVID, I'm pretty sure we lost 2 others. I lost actually maybe more because of Luther, but they've not passed away if there's ever a convenient time. They've passed away season, or they've gotten a heart attack in season, and everybody's so booked. We try to manage to meet those dates or help, but we can't always come through.
Yeah.
So it's a wonderful thing that you're booked so solidly. It's a worryful thing because you don't want to get ill or sick or affect that.
Well, and we had one Santa this year that we know, one of the ones that been around the longest, who somebody who posts on Facebook every single day. Every day he posts on Facebook. And all of a sudden it was mid-November and I'm like,
where's he at?
He's not posted. And at that same time that was occurring to me, we got word from an agency that the Santa who was booked this year for the Botanic Gardens for all these multiple nights
to replace me that first year
had taken ill and couldn't do the season, and they needed Santa to fill in.
Which we still didn't know who that was.
We didn't know who that was because it was an agency. They don't release names. And so I called the secretary and said, can you find out, is this Santa?
It took an effort.
This Santa? It took an effort. It turns out it was him. And that got taken care of. But we did discover that he had indeed had a stroke and was hospitalized. And he has been around so many years that nothing's in writing. It's just all in his head.
His family is a little bit disconnected, as some are. So they didn't know to step out and try to reach out to all these people. Or even know what he was involved in.
Words just started getting around that he was not available, and all of his clients started scrambling to try to confirm that and to get another Santa lined up for the season, and it was just heartbreaking. So that's that other big thing that we always said is you've got to have that calendar, those contacts, that all that information
and share with somebody.
That with somebody else, that somebody else can get to easily to be able to go down the list and call.
We finally got to go visit him and was absolutely gobsmacked at the recovery he looked to have. This is the second one he's had in his life. He may not be articulating well, but he's up, he's about, he's for the most part therapy for coordination a little bit. It's been long enough now. The recent funeral we went to, we talked another Santa and he picked him up and brought him.
Yeah.
And I hope that he's capable. He doesn't need to be Santa again this year. It's not anything I would impose on him. But I know he needs to do something. And with what's gone on in his world, I hope that he can.
But I don't think he didn't speak a word at the funeral services. I think he's having more difficulty with his speech, which is it's sad, but it does impact, then your ability
and
to.
And that's what we're all kind of talking about. Is
do anything.
It's like I said about the end of life plans, the will, the things. That's what kind of people like to put things off, or they're going to live a long time, and I hope they do. I hope they live forever. but we've all had family that have passed, and we've seen enough chaos and trouble. Even when it shouldn't even be there for how well it went, there's something. But if there's a way that you can, I mean, everybody needs to think about it. How many different social media things are you on? How many different passwords do you have?
Yeah. Yeah.
You've got
Yeah.
your checking account. You've got all your bills. You've got
No.
Who-
Only people over 70 have checking accounts now, sweetheart.
well, we don't use it, but you pay online. You do all this, and you have, and they say, you know, about passwords. I'm not sure now. Younger ones have control of passwords. I have a son-in-law, brilliant international poobah with computers and stuff. And his password strings he's shared with me a number of times are like, I could easily remember all of the numbers in pi before that. But we have our way with passwords and in with information that, look, here's where you can go. Here's what you can do. It might be that I need it because my memory's bad. If something should happen to Mrs. Claus, I'd be in as bad a boat as my kids would be for all of us. So I know at least where I can go, how I can figure it out, and whether or not I'm going to have enough money to stay in this house or have to go mooch.
You're getting really
Morbid.
Really, yeah, you really thought it's taking a dark turn.
But as Santa, that's the biggest thing is
having a plan.
Having a red book, identifying everything,
Yeah.
writing your information down. The biggest thing is anybody watching any of these things that feel a little inspired, they ought to know it's not that hard to get started in groups like iBirds, International
Like
Brotherhood
Oklahoma
of
Santas.
Oklahoma Santas. There are Forbes. There are other groups all through the country. It is easy to get hooked up to a group of, I call a large group of Santas a merriment.
Yeah.
I'd like to think I coined that word, but everybody's got it.
We
now.
did. No, we
We
did. We
But-
did. We did.
but wherever
That's the
there's a-
collective now.
Wherever
Yes.
there's a gathering, it is that simple to do, and for whatever you're calling, whether it's just solely charitable, I don't see how
You
it
still
can-
have a lot of things in common. Yeah. No
Yeah,
matter if you're
you-
charging or
you
not.
can do
Yeah.
And don't judge yourself. You're too short. You're too fat. You're too tall. You're not the right color. You're not the right whatever. You're from Mars.
Yeah.
You know, Santa's. But
They always said kids see Santa. Kids just see Santa, and they're looking for, and that's just it. They look at very few other things besides the red suit and the beard. If you've got that, they're real. They're sold. They're sold.
and the only thing
Yeah.
I would say to anybody on Facebook.
The rest of it's generally for the parents.
Well, if they haven't, yeah.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
really is. You dress up, you know, you bling for mom and dad. You know, the kids could have had the guy down by the van.
Yeah.
But no, but the thing about Facebook too, the only negative I have on anybody as Santa, we get a lot of friend requests. And it's important that if you're going to have something like Facebook for yourself personally, and you need a separate for Santa, and Santa should have absolutely nothing on it that's inappropriate.
It's
political.
strictly Santa business
You know,
that everyone could look at, and nobody is going to have any reason to be concerned about anything.
I tell them,
Yeah.
Santa's North Polean. Now, I have been confronted, well, you're for this guy or that
Okay.
guy. And I said, you know, Santa will always be on the side of who's kind to children and treat them well. And if that's considered a political viewpoint, that's not on me. I'm a North Polean. I vote 4 or 5 times at a time if I get away with it, but no, you know, and I've done events for political parties that weren't my own, but that's my play on it is I'm not political. And in one big event I did during the 2016 election here, like Walmart, no matter how much negativity there is against Walmart or this person who ran,
The people are there with their kids to see Santa.
that
Yeah.
crowd outside the center waiting to get in, the horseplay and the gooberness of the children through the window and everything, and all the photos. These are loving families with children. That that's where it needs to stay and be. The only thing I didn't do is they wanted me to hold the political signs. I said, nope, you can hold it. You knock yourself out. I'm not gonna hold it. And then I got trashed. I can't believe you did this. I'm Santa. Santa loves everybody. Everybody loves Santa. Trust me, if there's a need, I've got a reindeer that can take care of this. But yeah, what does it be? Rudy. I'll send Rudy down. I'll send one antler. That's his nickname. Yeah, one antler. But no, it was really, I worried a lot in the event, but I had so much fun. And like I say, with Walmart, with everybody doing these things about people at Walmart, and they put all these negative pictures and stuff. No, I'm a person of Walmart. Everybody that came here, it was just wonderful. And when the parents couldn't speak English to communicate, the children were always great on that. And the interaction and everything was just super cool. And it's just a lot of fun. So we got another question. Sorry.
No, you're done. You covered all of
We
it.
covered it down.
Yay!
Well, my last question I usually ask most people is, how do you want to be remembered? Doesn't have to be in the role as Santa or it can be, whichever one you want. Either way.
Us as a couple?
It doesn't matter. Either way.
How would you?
I want to be remembered as somebody who can throw a really great party.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's fair enough.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know.
I'd say put a twinkle in someone's eye.
I would like,
For
twinkling.
once.
I would like also to be remembered as the guy that you should not pull his finger. I'm that kind of dad, that kind of grandpa. You don't know about pull the finger?
Oh dear. Yeah, good. It's fine.
It's
Yeah,
usually
you
when
don't-
you
you don't
pass
need to.
gas as a grandpa.
Yes.
But
Yes.
yeah, it's nice to be remembered. I would like to bring a smile on someone's face when they think of me. I'd like to bring out a story that they're afraid to tell because maybe it's not appropriate, not in a really bad way, thinking that maybe it doesn't respect me in that way. If I've done it, if it's made you happy, if it's made you,
But a good cautionary tale?
Good.
Yeah.
knock yourself out. It's just like, it's, if anything, don't remember me as that. I keep falling back into my contracting years. Everybody loved me. I have a phrase, Jaguar, that I like to use when I was a builder. And it's just a guy with a hammer. And now I've changed it.
Just a guy with reindeer?
Yeah, Jaguar. Just a guy with a reindeer. But I don't have a magnetic sign on my truck with it like that. But yeah, you try to use these acronyms and phrases just to have some fun.
Yep.
Well, you guys have had a lot of fun.
Yes, we have. And anticipate still having it for a few more years.
Yes. So I'll end by saying thank you for bringing love, hope, and joy to so many families across Oklahoma.
Thank you.
Thank you for
Thank
what
you
you're
very much.
doing
Yes.
to help us do that.
Okay.
I appreciate it.
Stories are crucial.
They are.
Yes.